Oh, quality selection. Look at that.
Well, I try.
Emergency drinking beer. And I have,
but is this an emergency, though?
Yes.
I'm about to have to talk about footy with you people, so yes, it's an emergency.
Absolutely correct. And we're going to have to talk a lot about, John, we're going to have to talk a lot about pressing, which we all know that Jason hates.
That's why it's a freaking emergency around here.
We're going to have to talk about my boy, Ralph Rangnick, which Jason also despises.
No.
Fun and pressing.
Yeah, that part, I don't like it. Hate might be a strong word. Oh, yeah, I'll let you see us. Why not? I hit the wrong button. There, have at it. Jeez.
There we go.
You could hear us. That's good enough anyway, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
Is this content free?
I think so.
Yeah, okay. All right. So if the content's free, then,
Yeah.
Besides, who wants to see us anyway?
Nobody. Nobody.
No. There's no one right now driving in a car who's listening to this on the podcatchers and being like, you know what? I really wish I could see those guys. No, there's no one doing
not
that.
Not us.
No.
Yeah, especially if you're driving or watching something. That's
No, you could be obeying the Georgia driving laws, which says you can't hold a phone in your hand. True. You could have the phone next to you, right? And if like State Patrol were to pull you over for some reason, by no fault of your own, clearly, and they were to look into your car and see our faces on a camera, they'd be like, no, you can't operate the vehicle while these three goons and maybe the fourth voice of the goon squad comes joining in.
Yeah.
Then you just can't rip the ticket off and overshoot the amount.
There's no warning here.
Okay, I love this referee in Argentina that this just happened. It's the 95th minute of Aldo Civi and Argentinos Juniors. Like, it's the very end of the game. Argentinos Junior guy took one of the worst dives you will see. Like, left the leg trying to draw contact. There was no contact. He went over anyway. Referee's right there, comes running in, almost standing over the guy. Like, no. Just wasting no time.
For the emphasis.
By the way, if you are looking for some degenerate action, and I know there's many of you out there who are listening live, TIC is about to have the first leg of the Argentine promotion semifinal. Ferro hosting Quilmes in the first leg.
And this is on what fantastic streaming service?
TIC, or if depending on how you get your TIC, if you don't have access to your TIC, you can get it on Fanatis. FNTZ.co. No. / soccer down here.
That code still works, ladies and gentlemen. Just because you're getting stuff now on
you can still get stuff on the Fanatis. I get my Gold TV in English on the Fanatis, so I can listen to Nino Torres lose his mind about the Ecuadorian first leg of the final last night with some of the worst refereeing decisions you will ever see. And yes, they benefited El Mataflo and Perfect Tommy's team. They did, but they were still horrible decisions. Absolutely awful decisions, and it was a shambles.
Shambles, he says.
Shambles. But you can watch Gold TV in English there. That's where I get my Gold TV in English. You can watch Tigo Sports out of Guatemala if you need the Guatemalan action, which we all do from time to time. You can get all kinds of things there. You can get Real Madrid TV in English. They'll probably be talking about Kylian Mbappe, nonstop.
TikTok.
They're not El Chiringuito, but I'm sure they probably funnel money to El Chiringuito. Just saying.
Hey,
allegedly, possibly, maybe.
Allegedly.
Who knows?
But, you were talking about the Ferro and Quilmes about ready to kick.
Ferro and Quilmes.
The other promotion playoff happened at 3 o'clock this afternoon with one of our favorite team names, Almirante Brown.
Say that again, John. Who is that?
Almirante Brown.
Almirante Brown, yes.
Uh-huh.
That is accurate.
Barraca Central.
Yes, they faced Barraca Central, and it was a scoreless draw in the first leg. Barraca Central will host the second leg, and I don't think they have a day and time sorted out for that because it's Argentina. You just say we're going to play in a couple hours, and you play.
Yeah, we'll go over here.
That's just how it goes. Exactly, Kefsi, yes. You have the Rai TV as well if you want to pay for the Italian language package on Fanatis. You can do that. It's excellent.
Yeah. Yeah, and on that particular
and they have nice cooking
version,
shows, according to Emilio.
They have great cooking shows. on that one right there. You're not going to get a lot of sports, but you will get a lot of the other fun stuff. Yeah. Like Italian cooking shows where they have this like real magical garden setting. That's cool. It's like this like fairyland garden set up, and they cook and they do the whole thing. You have Italian news. You have some soap operas that are on there. Italian soaps, very interesting. You have some dramas. You know, some good stuff.
Very nice.
Yeah, you get Central American TV, you get CATV as a part of that. You get Nuestra Tele for what's going on in Colombia.
Yep, and they cut the really weird Colombian soap operas, which are very different than the Italian variants.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like the instant the match is over, it's like they just there's no commercial break, no nothing. It's like bang.
Adios. Boom. Yes, they salt the pasta on Rai TV. Yes, they do, Badger Mom.
They're not breaking the pasta.
No, they're not breaking the pasta, but they are salting it. Yes.
No. But I feel like we need to do this now. I feel like we need to do like an influence campaign to get Italy jump-started.
Are we going to influence the pasta not being broken or the salting of the pasta water, or what else are we going to influence?
Right. I'm willing to do this, to take one for the team here. Okay. And open, like I may have to get like a wig or something to help conceal my identity, like the big boxy black glasses with the fake mustache,
Mm-hmm.
I may have to like it'll be me with the worst, like I'm talking about worse than Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins, the English act, right? Like we're just gonna break this pasta right here, and like start breaking pasta into tiny bits, no salt in the water, like all this other stuff, and you just watch what happens and watch the nation.
I'm a Wario. I'm gonna win.
That's right. I may have to go Wario to get Italy across the line.
Question. Right? This is a very important question from Perfect Tommy.
Okay.
How do you feel about adding the extra virgin olive oil to the pasta?
I have watched actual Italians put extra virgin olive oil in. I have ceased doing this as it was brought to my attention, and factually so, that it prevents the sauce from grabbing onto the noodle. So I have ceased this. However, I have watched, he'd probably classify himself as Sardinian. Like he comes and goes, no, more olive oil. Come on. Yelling at my dad, Tony, no, you got to put more olive oil. And, So I have ceased doing this. Especially when I go into like a tagliatelle or something where if I'm making a like a bolognese and I want to have something that like a big noodle that can grab onto the sauce and onto the meat chunks and things like that, I'm definitely not putting any olive oil in there.
We're getting all kinds of questions. This is did not expect this morning. What about cream to fettuccine Alfredo?
Into what?
Fettuccine Alfredo.
What is that?
That I was wondering what you were going to respond to that.
It's a tourist dish. It's a tourist dish made by Italians up in New York for people who were looking for an Italian experience. And you have a chef who's like, what do we got? We have lots of with some formaggio. We can put on the give me the cream and the whatever the formaggio. Give it to them. Put some chicken, chicken or shrimp or whatever.
It's like what extra stuff do we have?
Yeah. They cleaned out the kitchen. Like that's exactly what happened. So people are like, "Hey man, this is pretty good stuff. Italian."
That's not how John sounds.
I'm just saying, like that's what happened. And so now people you have people who show up in Italy and they're like, "Hey, where's that fettuccine Alfredo?" And they're like,
You're like, "Nah, fam.
we need you to leave the restaurant immediately, sir.
Leave the country.
Your passport has been revoked. You've been reported."
Exactly.
Niall wants to know what we think of gnocchi.
Gnocchi?
Yeah.
Gnocchi is. I love gnocchi. I think gnocchi's fantastic. Wonderful filling pasta, but you got to make sure that you if you're making it on your own, it's not. It can be a little problematic, but it's very useful, but I'm very selective about where and when I use it. I don't necessarily use it with like heavy meat sauces, because you're talking about taking something like super filling, like a red meat, and then that with the gnocchi. It's like, good Lord,
I went
stuffed.
I went down that road, Nick, when we were in New York. I was trying to remember the name of the restaurant because I wanted to give them proper credit, because I highly recommend it if you are in New York. Last time we were there for the playoffs, obviously. Mike and I went to a restaurant that I'm pulling up. Just give me a minute. And I had the most amazing gnocchi bolognese. And it was a lot.
Oh, no doubt.
A lot.
It's like if you mix gnocchi with a red, like any sort of heavy red meat, you're talking. It's like the nature shows with the anaconda, with like the anaconda now eating the small deer will not have to feast for another 2 months. Like that's exactly like that's where you are as a human. You're like, no, I'm good. I don't need anything else. I love gnocchi with pesto. I love gnocchi with like if you do pesto with some with it's like some shrimp or a little calamari mix. It is really good. So that's a good option. That's a good summertime. Like you're trying to go like get your big pasta fix, but you're not trying to go stupid heavy. That's a good option for you.
It was amazing. We've somehow stumbled into, like, the last couple trips we made, Italian restaurants on the road that became a regular thing, because we have a very different kind of old school Italian restaurant in Cincinnati that Mike and I have been to, and we'll go every time we go to Cincinnati now, I think. Scotti's. And Scotti's has been in like the same family for 5 generations. It's over 100 years old.
There you go.
And it's like like family style.
Yeah.
It's it's really good. And they do, like 3 courses, whatever you're going to get. You're going to get a salad, you're going to get a soup. I mean, it's awesome. Like this weird slaw thing that I'd never had before. It's like very vinegary.
All right.
Very weird. Very good. Very good. Very good early in the meal. Very good.
My favorite Italian restaurant in New York was on the Lower East Side. There's a place called Via della Pace that unfortunately burned down some time ago, but they've moved, from what I understand, to the East Village. So I'm going to have to go try that. Now, the downside is that in the fire, a lot of the old recipes and things like that and equipment burned with it. But it was like this really cool spot where they had like a little wall separating the bar from like the cook surface. And so you had like this younger Italian guy behind the bar and all these old Italian guys sitting across from him. And he would just sit there and just like, they would just be going nuts on stuff. But like there was all this great memorabilia. Was it Gallinari who was there? He like gave him a shoe or something, so there was like an autographed shoe up on the wall, like this massive thing. But it was like this really cool spot where you could go either for coffee or for like your late night dish or whatever, and it was cash only, as most things in the
okay, then that's quality. Yes.
Yeah, it was really good.
Yeah, that's going to be good.
No. It's a cash only. There's ATM in the downstairs, please.
That's always going to be the best. Rossini's was the place we went last time. It's been open since the late 70s. And in New York, it was excellent. Highly recommended. The gnocchi was amazing, and it was very, very filling.
There you go.
I should have got the half order. I did not.
Yes. Traditionally, any kind of restaurant like that, you've got to get the half order unless you're ready to take it all home with you.
Well, I was in
and have like 2 days worth of meals.
Yeah, that wasn't
going back to where you were staying.
That wasn't going to happen. Yeah. Anyway, yes, and Sean Vergara says John can't contribute to this topic. Next topic. Tom Marie says maybe John will learn something. Never mind. Also very, very true.
I mean, come on.
But yeah, I mean, there are some things that I think are legitimate, and some things that you just want to avoid. I'm having a pitch invader here. Hold on. There's no telling. All right. So hold on. Let me read the rules of the road tour really quick.
The rules of the road have been.
All right.
Okay.
They've been read. So the big thing is if you were like a big fettuccine Alfredo fan, good for you. It's as American as a cheeseburger. Okay, so don't.
So it's the cheeseburger of pasta dishes, is what you're saying.
No, it's an American dish. Like
be careful, John. You're going to get yourself in trouble.
Yeah, it's not. It's not the. No. There's nothing. The ingredients may be somewhat, but that's about it. Hey, can I help you? Yeah. So, but the great conversation of pizza in New York versus pizza in Italy. Like, if you're talking about Naples, it's a different animal entirely. But I've had far better pizza in New York than I've had in Rome or in like Padova or Milan. Right. So, I mean, it's something where there's that great debate of, it's like Italy. Well, I promise you, you may find some things that are going on pizza you'd be a little shocked by. So don't get terribly worked up. But that's why I don't ever really insert myself into the pizza conversation of what goes on a pizza. Because if you see, like, if you go to Instagram and type in like follow the hashtag Siracusa, so it's a legendary city on the east coast of Sicily, and it's a former Greek colony, and it's largely where my family is from. But look at the pizzas that are coming out of that place, and you're going to be like, what in God's name is that? And so it's something where our ideas of what is good over there and our ideas of what we may put down over here, we may want to be a little careful with that.
You're going to freak John out. Got to be careful. Got to watch it there. You put some weird things on pizza, he's going to get really disturbed.
I mean, I'm trying to think of how weird. I mean, for me,
John,
like I said, I'm just a very basic guy. That's just how I am.
Really?
That's. Well, here's
News
the thing.
Flash.
It's basic. So I'll tell you this one thing, and then there's pizza scenes that are popping up that are really good, and some that are outside of New York. I would say Frank Pepe's in New Haven, which is a pizza. Like if you go there and it's like they have like a white sauce and clam pizza that is really good. Any of their other standard pizzas, it's huge, it's super filling, it's unbelievable. But the stuff like I love Francie's that was in Brooklyn. They shut down. I think the rent was too high, and then there are a bunch of great places around. But don't feel like you have to go to Italy for good pizza. And if you go to Italy, just don't get pizza. You're really selling yourself short. If you go to Florence, it needs to be the red meat extravaganza. You need to get the bistecca fiorentina. Is this big, super thick steak that they cook over olive branches and coals. And when I was in Florence previously, they had like the fireplace grates, right? Like we all have them. Like if you grew up with the fireplaces, he pulls I have the GoPro and I'm like videotaping, and the guy wheels out like a half a cow, and I'm like, what the heck? He goes, come. Pulls out the big, horror movie cleaver, like whack, and then pulls off this chunk of meat, takes it to the thing, and it's like heavy salt, heavy pepper, and like he bap, and then throws it on the grate and shoves it in. He goes like that, and it was done. Like it comes out, it's almost blue in the middle. Like it's super rare. If you ask them to cook it down anymore, you're going to get thrown out. Especially at Ristorante Toto, don't do it. If you go to Ristorante Toto, just take it however they get it. But if you go to Sicily, you may want to have a steak, but that's not what you need to be getting. You need to be getting like the seafood that comes out from that area is just obscene, and so lean more toward that. But do some regional education and find out if you're going to Italy, and just check and see what they're known for, and then make your decisions about that. But don't look down on New York pizza and New York Italian food, because if you have places like fifth generation, or like in Cincinnati even, like fifth generation. And I found out that there's this place in St. Louis, not in St. Louis, but in
St. Louis Missouri, has got some really old Italian restaurants too.
Right, but there was this one place. It was something in like southern Missouri. Like, what the hell? And you go on the page, like their Instagram, and it's like their chef is like hanging out with like Bobby Flay and like all these other guys. Like, wait a minute, like how did you end up there? And you start doing the math. You're like, oh yeah, okay, cool, got you. Done with the questions. There's a place up near Lake Rabun, Louis by the Lake, and it's this guy from New York who is like living up by Lake Rabun, and he's got this great little restaurant up there, and we're all convinced he's in the witness protection program. But he has he's like a really good, it's this really good Italian restaurant up there by Lake Rabun. So,
might have to remember that one. Okay,
it's food down here now. We completely sidetracked the show. We have so much to get into.
Well, since we're in Italy, and I think this will be the shorter. Thanks. The shorter topic of the two. We've mentioned it a little bit, just very briefly, what's going on with Juventus and the financial irregularities and all that, and what is at risk for them, which government authorities have come out and said you could be relegated to Serie B, you could be fined lots and lots of money, all these different things. Where do things stand right now? I know they were looking for some documentation on, correct me if I'm wrong, possible off-the-books payments to Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yep. So there are the main group. Anytime you see anything with Serie A news and the name Guardia di Finanza, you need to understand that it is bad.
That's the Italian taxman, right?
Yeah. They are the strong arm of the Italian taxman, and they're largely tied with busting corruption. So look, mafia is a thing. You can't get around it. It's the business model for them has changed significantly over the years, from protection rackets and moving just contraband to more just largely more drug running, and they're not necessarily worried as much about the business protection end of it because it's kind of a no-win situation for them. And Guardia di Finanza gets involved in things. It's the feds showing up at the door. And so the police.
For you. I got a surprise.
Right. And typically one of the tactics they use are wiretaps. And so Juve has been busted previously.
How they got Diego back in the day.
Right. So,
the wiretaps.
Guardia di Finanza got Diego. And so they got Juve before. That's how really Calciopoli exploded, is because they were doing wiretaps, and then they picked up on the payment of referees. And no, it wasn't just Juventus. I will not allow. As much as I hate Juventus, Milan was in on it. I want to say Fiorentina was in on it. There were a bunch of people who were in on it. It's not just Juve. However, Juve really endured the worst out of everyone else. And now Juve is in it again because they have allegedly tapes of them discussing, hey, if they find these documents, we're kind of done for. We got to move this stuff around. And that triggered the search for Guardia di Finanza to go in and raid the offices in Turin. And so what's happening now with Juve, and people have to remember that Juve is structured differently than what a lot of the traditional clubs are, and that it is a subsidiary of Exor. And so this is the grandson of Gianni Agnelli, who runs who running all the entities. However, they've been able to creatively move debt around as a subsidiary and work things out. However, the finances and trying to keep up with the Joneses have not been kind to Juventus. And so they were at the top. There's a huge difference between getting to the top and staying at the top. And they have had to make substantial payments, allegedly off the books, to bring in players like Cristiano Ronaldo. And then they artificially inflated the valuations of other players when they moved them out, like Pjanic and a couple of other ones. And it didn't, to stupid amounts. And then the players show up elsewhere and they're not doing anything. Like they're like either relegated to the bench, or they're not, there's the playing time is not there. And so authorities have been looking at this for a while, been like, okay, now hold up. How are you saying that this player is worth $45 million and they're going somewhere else, and nothing's happened with them at all. Like, what's the arithmetic on this? How's this working out? And so the contention by the state, and this is where it's really bad. It's not the league. It's not the FIGC that's doing this. It is the feds are saying, okay, who's cooking the books on player valuations whenever you move these players out? Because Juve have been the kings of signing people on expiring deals. Go back and look at the number of expiring deals of players who they brought in, or free transfers, very, very cheap loans with options to buy, and then they move those players out for 10, 15, 20, 30 million euro. And
so they're turning a profit on paper.
They're turning a profit.
But they're turning a profit. Not really turning a profit.
Right. Okay. And so the problem is that these books are getting cooked.
Wasn't one of them recently, for people who remember, the Artur Pjanic move that I think it came out on the Barcelona side too? Like, it was all about helping, or trying to allegedly help, both teams' books and bookkeeping more than anything else.
Right.
That seems like it was one of the triggers here. It seemed like there's been three layers to it from what I've read, and I might be off on it. Like, that stuff was what started it, because we were hearing about that with multiple teams. Right. Like, that was multiple teams. I think Milan was being talked about there. A bunch of teams were being talked about with valuations of players not quite syncing up. Okay, then it sounded like there was a second layer that happened during the initial stages of the pandemic, when Juve players decided to take less money for a period of time while they weren't playing. Ronaldo was one of them, but then there was talk about some document that shouldn't exist, but they were looking for, that basically he never took, what was rumored or what was alleged was he never really took a pay cut. He said he took a pay cut, and they reported he took a pay cut. He got all his money. I don't think they found that document. Then it sounds like now there's a third layer to it, and Ronaldo's in on it again, to the point that they've talked about bringing him in for questioning, related to his move to Manchester United. Like, that is another layer that was added on top of it. So, like, either they had a bunch of stuff that they were looking for, and it's just coming out drip by drip, or they had something they were looking for, they found it, and then they found more, and then they found more, and then they found more. And it seems kind of like the latter, which is not a good thing.
Correct. And when we look at the overall picture, now, if we, right now we're macro on Juventus, right? Because they are digging up everything. But when we pull out and look at the larger picture here, and we kind of get like the 20,000 foot view, all the teams that were yelling about Super League and everything about, we have to do this Super League deal, we can't back out, we gotta make this move happen. Well, two of the big fish that refused to go out for a while are the ones who have the largest amount of trouble in Juventus and Barcelona. And Barcelona was borrowing, and pleading for cash. This whole La Liga deal, and then that fell through, and then Super League that fell through, and these payments would have made almost all of these problems go away for them. And now they are under the scrutiny of financial fair play. This is just UEFA perspective, like UEFA compliance. And not just that, but now you're talking about illegal payments being paid, under the table payments being made, the stuff that is not under the purview of the Italian taxman. This falls directly in corruption, the world of corruption, and that falls under the eye of the Italian government, and it takes it out of the FIGC, where Agnelli has a lot of pull, and now instead it puts it in the hands of the Guardia di Finanza, and they are not going to stop on this. You can't really buy them off. You can't really pay them off. The name Agnelli does not carry, in my opinion, and I'm willing to have a conversation with those who wish to disagree, the same stroke in northern Italy that it used to. And that was because from World War II, Italy was on the verge of a communist takeover. And so Gianni Agnelli collaborated with the Italian government, or the American government, and said, look, if you help fund fiat, I can put people to work at a living wage, and we can rebuild Italy. and keep it out of communist hands. Because if you don't let these people get paid and have a job and keep them off the streets, Italy's going to fall. It's going to have a big red flag on it. And so the United States, of course, came in and helped make that move happen. And then they called the Fiat the Fiat factories mushrooms, because they would just pop up all over northern Italy. Those aren't there anymore. A lot of Fiat's production has moved to Poland because it is a far cheaper workforce, skilled, educated labor, and now, without that there, the Fiat name doesn't carry quite as much. It doesn't carry as much weight. The Agnelli name does not carry as much weight. And when you've played the heel for so long, you don't find many people who sympathize with your position. And so Juventus has been accused of lying and cheating and stealing for years, some founded, some unfounded, largely unfounded, but the stuff that has stuck pretty strongly. And so now you're in a position where all these chips are falling. Juventus is at its weakest that I think that they've probably been in years from a talent perspective, and it's going to take a long time to rebuild that, because the finances do not exist under financial fair play for them to rebuild quickly. So if you're going to strike at Juventus, now is the time, and it looks like that's happening. And the FIGC can't do anything about it. They can't intervene on Agnelli's behalf. If documents are alleged to exist and they've been spoken about on wiretaps, once they play those wiretaps, people will roll. You're talking about like former athletes that are like, because Juve has populated their ranks with former athletes. These dudes aren't giving up that life, and people will roll.
Yeah, I think the first Ronaldo issue was something they had on a wiretap. Right. The second one related to the transfer, Juventus came out with a second statement, because they had to come out with a statement acknowledging, our offices were raided. They came out with another statement so that they were looking into the transfer of Ronaldo to Manchester United. That's odd to me that, first off, they come out with the statement and then there's more in another statement later. Like, they found stuff.
Yeah, it sounds like they're trying to, by putting out a statement, it's like they're trying to anticipate the blowback or whatever other revelations are coming down. They're trying to get in front of it at least a little bit.
In Italy, the press conference is an art form. In Italy, press conferences are an art form. They have law. They're trying to pass laws now that reduce the way that people can do press conferences now to try to sway public opinion, right? And so, if we look at the transfer situation with Ronaldo, it all happened very, very, very quickly, and it all went down in a way that was like, wait a minute, whoa, Ronaldo's doing what? Like, he's out, and this is happening. He's not at training. He is at training. He's meeting with Juve authorities. So the question is, did Juve and Man United work together to somehow cook books to get a move, grease the wheels? This is what the Italian authorities are looking into. Did Juve receive money to cover up these payments? And do the payments from Manchester United match up with the payments that went to Ronaldo? Because this contract was pretty absurd. How does that match up, right? And so it's something that... here we go.
Speaking of Juventus, top story over at ESPN is that Liverpool are interested in signing Juventus forward Paulo Dybala on a free transfer. Out of contract at the end of the season. If he's available on a free, Liverpool would be interested, to the point that they would sign him on a pre-contract in January to bring him in next season. I don't know if Juve is going to be able to keep him.
No, but look, nothing happens by accident when it comes to Juventus. They are very clever. They have brilliant. John Elkann, who runs Exor, is a brilliant man. It's very impressive what they've been able to do, and I say that without any sarcasm whatsoever. But they know right now they have to get the red as close to 0 as possible. Because if Guardia di Finanza comes in and it looks like Juve has done all this stuff and profited in the process, they're going to get killed for it. Mm-hmm. But if they can get it as close to 0 as possible, touching the black, touching the red, but as close to 0 as possible. Look, baby, we broke even. Maybe they can just get it to, you're going to get docked 20 points or something like that. You're going to start off 20 points in the hole. That would be Juventus's dream scenario in this. The dream scenario, obviously, is that nothing comes of it and it's moved on.
I think maybe they've realized that ain't happening.
Yeah. Right. Correct. And if they're getting rid of Dybala, somebody who they've wanted to keep as long as possible, that tells me that they're trying to get that everything lined up so they can say, baby, we broke even, we came close to breaking even, didn't quite get there. Please go easy on us because we're not going to win a lot of games anyway. They don't have that dream team roster that they had when they got relegated down to Serie B previously. So you don't have, you don't have these stalwarts like a Del Piero. You don't have Gigi Buffon, Pablo Nedved, all these other guys who are like, okay, no, we're going to stay and lift the club back up. You don't have that anymore. So it's going to get really bad for Juve. But again, Juventus will not be the only ones who are caught up in this. Is Milan caught up in it? It's questionable because since they are run by Elliott, a hedge fund, I find it less than, and I'm not saying this, I'm taking the Milan hat off here. I find it less than likely that a hedge fund would put themselves into a position where they would be caught up by the authorities on something so stupid like this. But did it happen before Elliott? More than likely, yes. Did it happen during Elliott? Maybe yes, maybe no. But something tells me they would have crossed T's, dotted I's a little better than what Juventus was trying to do, because they really didn't have a reputation to protect at that point. They had kind of already been dragged through the mud. But Napoli will get pulled into this somehow.
Hey, wait a minute.
They will. They will. Because and I'll tell you why. Because, De Francesco, you have that whole group down there. They're not... De Laurentiis is not... Yeah.
He's nuts.
He's not exactly on great terms with the FIGC to begin with. And he, and Naples has a reputation that, it's stupid, but it plays a role in Italian politics. Politics rules all, and pointing anything toward the south will get you brownie points. Don't be shocked if Naples gets pulled into this. I don't think they're going to get caught up in much of anything because all of their transfers that they've had go out have typically paid really well. Yeah. So
they'll get Juventus for obvious stuff, and then to try to curry favor, they'll ding Napoli for something because let's go kick the guys in the south.
Right. They'll ding Napoli. They'll probably ding. I imagine they'll ding Napoli. They'll probably ding Milan.
They're going to ding Sampdoria because of this president of theirs?
That has nothing. Hold up. That has nothing to do with the club. That needs to be very clearly established. The issues legal that the former president, because he's resigned now, of Sampdoria, his legal issues did not stem from anything to do with his running of the club.
Right.
They were all personal business.
Yeah, and I haven't dug too much into that.
Yeah, that was made very clear. I wanted to make sure that he wasn't running Sampdoria as a criminal enterprise. That doesn't need to be brought up. Will wants to know about Inter.
Will wants to know what?
Will wants to know about Inter. Are they going to get dinged?
Inter. Could they theoretically? Are they a suspect because of their financial situation? Yes.
Yeah.
Just because of the financial situation. If I'm Guardia di Finanza, I'm looking into them just because of their financial situation and how they were able to save themselves from, one, they were backed by the Chinese money for so long. Whether the Chinese money was legitimate or illegitimate, you can't do a lot of back tracing back to China. So there's scrutiny to begin with. Once that pipeline of cash dried up, then it became something more of like, all right, well, how did you guys stay solvent in all of this? So I think they're going to get looked into. I don't know if necessarily, I mean, the Lukaku move, I think, made sense.
Yeah.
You know, it's back to the Prem. It's a team that he had previously worked with. It was a ton of money.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like anything funny on that one. That makes sense.
And look, as a Milan guy, I should be like, yes, and get them. You know, like the bad guy went that way and he's wearing blue and black. You know, but no, I don't really think that there's not a lot there that I think that they largely kept the team together. They've added pieces. There haven't been a ton of really questionable transfers out that made you kind of go, huh? Like Juve had a ton of those. It was just like, wait, how the hell are you getting this deal done? But Inter hasn't really had those. All those appeared to be above board. It looked like that they were, you know, they won Scudetto and then dismantled. It was like, damn, like, okay, well, why? And they're like, well, we have to pay the bills. Okay, all right, well, I guess, you know, sucks to be y'all, but you know, I don't think Inter's really going to get dinged. But I could see, you know, Milan has had some transfers that
they've had a couple that I remember talking about that it's kind of like, And Napoli, they'll find something because they'll go after them. Juve, there'll probably be some smaller clubs that they'll find something on. Because, I mean, when it all started, there was talk about quite a few clubs that were involved in this kind of adjusting of player valuations on the books. Is where it all started, and Juventus was the first one to get rated, and I'm sure there will be more. But I mean,
as people roll,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's a community. Even if these teams, like the fans, may hate each other, right? So the fans may hate each other.
It's exactly the same thing as Barcelona.
Far less hate.
Same thing as Barcelona and Real Madrid. You know, like the members, they'll all talk smack about each other. They hate each other.
Right.
The actual people running the clubs, they're all buddy, friendly.
Yeah, they don't. Look, it's business because these teams get together and they say, look, in order to remain solvent, you know, what is it going to take to because when COVID was hitting, these teams were talking on a regular basis.
Yeah, you had to.
And so it was like, hey, look, I've got like 3 contracts, you know, players that are bums. I got to get rid of these guys. Like, okay, I can take this person. You could take this person. What about, can you ship this guy out? Yep. Okay. Well, how much money are we talking here? You know, 80 million. I gotta get 80 million. Okay. Well, we can't get you 80 in the middle of this stoppage. Can you survive with 35 or 40? Yep. Can survive with 35 or 40. Great. Let's go. Yep. And so it is collusion. It's collusion and,
welcome to pro
it's
sports.
The dirty side of the business. Yeah. It's you know, what are you going to do? It's not the first time, it ain't the last time.
No, It's not going away. All right, we're going to get into the press and the remaking of Manchester United here in just a second. Some things to clean up on the news front and such. John, I'm very upset with your English media.
What are they doing now?
They led me astray with lies about the referee situation from Jude Bellingham's comments. They said on TalkSport that the referee who was in question was not one who was found guilty of doing anything incorrect. But
let me guess.
Oh, he was. Not anything major. I mean, it wasn't a ton of money. That's why he was only suspended for 6 months as opposed to, you know, being suspended for a longer period of time. But yes, he took money. He was an AR. He was probably very young. It could have been hush money, whatever. But yes, he took money. He got a 6-month ban. So the way it was being portrayed on TalkSport to try to bail out Jude Bellingham was not correct. I continue my war against the English media, and I will never believe any of them again.
Go for it.
And this time it wasn't the 3-letter or the 4-letter. It was just bad.
It was the 9-letter.
Yes, it was very bad. I'm very upset by this. Thank you, Bernd, for cleaning this up. What Bellingham said is true. Should he have said it? No. Should he get suspended for at least a few games in the league? I think yes, because anytime you bring up a referee's integrity and that you should get suspended, he should get suspended. It was very stupid to say it, but there was some accuracy to it. It's, you know, I mean, you can get in between of it, but he took money. It's not like he wasn't involved. So Thank you, Bernd, for doing the research on that. And I will never trust the English media again on anything because they're not to be trusted. other things that we have talked about that have updates, AFCON in January. It is now being reported by Benedra Naim of Goal.com that AFCON could be relocated to Qatar. The idea has started to gain some ground. A former member of the CAF told an Egyptian television network that the case is now in the hands of FIFA. I do not think the tournament gets played in Africa in its current format in January. I don't think that's going to happen because I think, as we talked about with the Philadelphia Union, there at least is some circumstantial evidence that their outbreak started with Olivier Mbaiso and Jamira Montero returning from Africa, specifically Mbaiso, who was playing yesterday, but didn't play in the two previous games and was in South Africa. Again, all circumstantial right now, but that's going to be pointed at as a reason not to release players. And the Premier League and others will absolutely not want to release players to this. If it's in Qatar, if it's in a bubble or something there, then maybe it gets done. But I don't think it gets done in its current format. I'm just not buying it. And it sounds like there's actual talk about that going down the road. We didn't get into this from the morning. Jesse Marsch obviously lost his job at RB Leipzig. Adi Hütter's job at Gladbach is not in danger, even though they lost 6-0 at home to Freiburg. They're not in a good position, but the sporting director of Gladbach, Max Eberl, said, if we get to the point in football that you lose 2 games and then general questions are asked or implied, then I can't identify with that. Said that they agreed to go down the same path with Hütter, the manager, start before the season. Said this means, quote, going through thick and thin and not immediately taking the decision that something has to be changed. Now, he wasn't so nice when he was asked about how the team played yesterday. He said it was surreal, and things were flashing through his mind as he was watching this game. One of them was, quote, excuse me, what kind of ish is happening right now? That is the sporting director of Borussia Mönchengladbach, Max Eberl, saying that about his team. He said, why aren't we fighting back? Why do we fall into such a lethargy in a game like this? A harmlessness when it comes to tackling and defending standards. And they play Leipzig on Saturday. But yes, quote of the day is, excuse me, what kind of ish is happening right now?
A T-shirt.
Yeah. Roger Schmidt is seen as a favorite to potentially replace Jesse Marsch at RB Leipzig, according to Kicker. Schmidt is under contract to PSV until the summer of 2022. Can he get out of his deal? He was at Salzburg from 2012 to 2014, but Schmidt's name, Roger Schmidt, has come up as a possibility to be at Leipzig. A couple more. We've mentioned this a couple of times. Leeds United, the San Francisco 49ers keep upping their stake in Leeds United. And David Ornstein of The Athletic is reporting exclusively that Leeds is set for a full takeover by the 49ers in the next 2 years. They already own 44%. The option exists to buy the rest by January of 2024 for a total price above £400 million, including Elland Road, the stadium. That seems like a no-brainer. Mm-hmm. That's not crazy money for the San Francisco 49ers. That's like half a year's income, and they'll be fine to do that. Now, Radrizzani, the owner, might keep a small stake at that point. I'd probably assume that he would. But yeah, the San Francisco 49ers might own Leeds United in the next couple of years in totality, or at least in majority. We've talked about Maurizio Pochettino a lot, and now, of course, all the rumors are starting. Lionel Messi and his people don't like Poch. Well, now also French journalist Francesc Aguilar is saying, I keep receiving information from Qatar that the Emir and his entourage are beginning to lose patience with Maurizio Pochettino.
That's it.
They don't like how PSG plays, the locker room management, and the poor performance they get from Lionel Messi, who they see as misplaced. Talking about in the team, the way he's being played.
Tic-tac.
Yeah, Poch is going to be on the way out, and he's not going to go to Manchester United. It has been rumored that Erik ten Hag is linked, again, now with taking over at Manchester United, and this is coming out of Dutch media, that he might be the guy. But
Erik ten Hag to take over where?
Manchester United.
Uh-oh.
Interesting.
Well,
Nick is a skeptical.
Okay, it's being reported. I mean, there's not really anything to be skeptical on that. And could he factor into that style of play? Yeah, I could see that. But and the question, this is what it comes back to, when the new man in charge, Ralph Rangnick, who had to be given something to take just a 6-month deal, and it is some kind of a 2-year consultancy, but what kind of power does that have? When he says before he's even managed one game, I might just stick around. I might just say that the best thing you should do is hire me.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think. And basically the not knowing what to think and not knowing really what they've gotten into seems to be the ongoing conversation in England when it comes to Ralph Rangnick and Manchester United, because people are talking about what this team's going to look like, and I don't think they really know Ralph Ball very well. And now I'm sure people are tossing their cookies, maybe metaphorically and maybe legitimately as well, about Chris Armas moving in. And now potentially Jesse Marsch, who is now being linked after we talked about the possibility this morning. It was kind of a no-brainer, because he previously worked for Ralph Rangnick as an assistant, and now he is available, and I'm sure a work permit would be easily had based off what he has been doing for the last few years. I know Brexit and all that, but still, he's going to get a work permit. You could bring him in immediately, and who knows the system, like Jesse Marsch, who has been an assistant already for Rangnick. This is not going to be Ralph Rangnick doing something different. He's not going to go to Manchester United and say, I want to play like Guardiola. No.
There's a journalist, actually I've seen a couple of journalists with check marks by their name, that unless it is extraordinarily misread sarcasm, it said, well, maybe now Manchester United can actually possess the ball. And it took everything I had from my phone, my fingers not to go through the phone and be like, you clearly have no idea what you're talking about. just tell me that you've never watched any Bundesliga. Tell me you've watched none of Leipzig, none of Salzburg, none of them. Just tell me you have no concept of what you're talking about. It would be easier to have that conversation.
Yeah, it's secondary. Like, are there going to be situations where they have possession? Absolutely, there will be. Like, yeah, because teams are going to sit back and bunker and give them the ball. Like, absolutely, that's going to happen because it happens all the time to Manchester United. But is that the goal, to increase possession? No, that's not the goal at all.
No, it's not. No, look, Jesse Marsch is going to get hired.
Yeah, it's a no-brainer. He's available. Hire him. Bring him onto the staff because he knows the system.
Right, and I don't think that I don't know if it's necessarily he's going to go to Manchester United. It depends if he wants to go back to being an assistant. He may be fielding offers from Austria.
I doubt he is. I honestly doubt that he is.
Yeah, you don't think so?
No, because he was in Austria. He had more money than anybody else to work with. So it's not like he won because of the system. He won because
you tell anybody in charge of anything, no matter what their budget is, if they're winning, there's going to be a large part of that ego that's going to say it's happening because of me.
No, he's going to say that. No. That's not what I'm saying. The other clubs in Austria, I don't think are going to value him very heavily after what happened at Leipzig and knowing that he won in Austria because he was at Salzburg. I think his best fit, and he's probably going to get asked, and this guy's his mentor, so I think he's probably going to take it. I think he's going to go to Manchester United.
Right, and if you're a Manchester United supporter and you're looking at the coaching tree of Ralph Rangnick and you're saying, "Oh, look, Julian Nagelsmann, he can do a little bit of he can do a lot of pressing, he can do a little bit of possession. It's exciting ball. They were very successful."
That's a branch way over there.
No,
that branch is over there somewhere.
Right. So look at the staff that's being assembled right now, and if you talk about Chris Armas and Jesse Marsch, these are, if you were to view Ralph Rangnick as sort of the Catholic Church and all of his coaching tree, including those who have been just largely influenced by him, is like offshoots. These, like, the guys that he's bringing on are like Opus Dei. They are like unbelievable, on fire for Catholicism. Like, that's who these guys are. they're not going to be like, hey, Ralph, I think we should possess the ball here and kind of work it around a bit. No. There's one speed. It's full speed, and it's press early and press often. And if you have seen any interview with Jesse Marsch, and you watch any interview with Ralph Rangnick, it's the exact same message without the accent. So the fundamentals of what Ralph Rangnick preaches, it is coordinated pressing. And he says it. He says it's just you can't press a little. That's like being a little pregnant. You can't be just a little. You can't just do a little pressing. You're going to get killed. So you have to do full pressing all the time, and that's why the players that he typically signs are first contract and some second contract players. But the idea, and this is what killed Jesse Marsch, and because even I was like, I think it's a little early for them to fire him, and I still believe it was at Leipzig, but the methodology for Red Bull is next man up, and that is we do not keep players around, we move them out. Pressing, especially the gegenpressing, is a cultural thing, and this goes all the way back to the beginning, and this is what Ralph Rangnick's doing is nothing new. This is stuff that has existed when the former Soviet Eastern Bloc for a long time. The Soviet Union played with it, their national team. Dynamo Kiev played with it. Valery Lobanovsky, who is one of the mentors, one of the people who Ralph Rangnick really idolized. Dynamo Kiev would travel for their preseason, for their preseason preparations, and they came to where Ralph Rangnick was, and Rangnick was saying, like, getting his assistants, like, they have 12 men on the field. The referee is not picking up on the fact they have 12 men on the field, and all of his assistants are like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and like, no, Ralph, it's 11 guys. Like, he's got 11 guys, and Rangnick was insistent that they were playing with an extra man, and then it clicked with them what was happening, that it was an unbelievable coordinated high press, and they couldn't do anything with the ball at all. And so then he was very impressed by this. He was a huge fan of Arrigo Sacchi. He would watch tapes on AC Milan and what they were doing with their press, and he said there's something to this. And Lobanovsky was someone who enjoyed science and he enjoyed math, and he really was one of the pioneers of bringing metrics into the game. And Rangnick took that and weaponized it. He took it to the next level. He had a friend who was a women's volleyball player who spoke with him about the level of preparation that they had to go through, numbers, statistics, metrics, and he was like, okay, I'm sold. If you have to do this for volleyball, we need to do this more for football. And so he applied that in his game time preparation. Who to press, when to press, what stages of the game are we, and who are we attacking? It's ball oriented. Who is going to be, who operates where and when. He
ball oriented and not having the ball, defending the ball.
And so he, with his calculation, said we need to get the ball back within 8 seconds. We need to turn around and then go immediately back at them within 10 seconds. And the reason why these numbers are there is that if you go to any recreational game on a Saturday morning and you hear the coach whenever there's a goal kick, guys, spread out, give them somebody, go wide, hey, right back, why are you not on the touchline, right? And what happens is little kids, they spread right out. Well, watch any game on the pros, and you see them when it goes to goal kick. You see these players spread right out, and what happens? What does it create? Space. Now, the idea is that there's a triggering move, which is the ball leaves the keeper's foot, and the press is activated. It's coordinated. It's like a wolf pack, and it's like, again, I said, it's ball oriented. Everybody starts moving and collapsing down. It's not man-to-man heavy. We have specific ideas of where we're pressing and when, and who approaches and when. We recover it. There is no horizontal or backwards passing. Ralph Rangnick goes nuts when there's horizontal or backwards passing, because it kills the momentum. Because what it allows is, remember what we talked about before, space that was created. What's the enemy of defense? Space. So what we need to do is immediately attack vertical passing, incisive passing, incisive diagonal passing. So that way the defense doesn't have time to collapse and recompose themselves.
Nick,
so
we have exclusive footage of Ralph Rangnick hearing that youth coach. The youth coach is saying, spread out, give them something.
Yeah.
We have exclusive footage of Ralph Rangnick approaching that youth coach.
Play that.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Right. And so what happens is they press for 8 seconds, they get the ball back. Now, automatically, the defense who are in offensive positions, right, are now in a panic mode. They're discombobulated. They're missing assignments because they are not in position to play defense in a coordinated fashion. So now it's bing, bing, bing. We're right in front of the goal. Our striker's about maybe in the 8-yard box at this point. Turn and fire in. And so it's all about getting the ball very quickly. The defense is a flat back 4 on the line, heels on the line. And if like 2 or 3 times of this crap, the goalkeeper says, I've had enough, I'm punting it. It goes right into the teeth of the back 4 and where the 6 and 8 are. And according to Ralph Rangnick, if you hear the same, like if you're a Georgia Tech fan and you heard interviews with Paul Johnson and he talked about the flexibility of his offense, Ralph Rangnick sounds very familiar when he has these conversations. He's like, the system is actually very functional. You can have 2 6s, 2 8s, you can have 2 10s, you can have, and so, but what you have are roles that switch on and off. So if the ball's recovered on the left side midfielder suddenly becomes the 10 and pushes in. If it's on the right side mid may push in and become the 10. And then you have these game plans where other teams are now forced to make a decision. Do we try to play through this? Do we try to just punt the ball and essentially do bunker and boom ball? They're going to get the ball back, especially if you have a coordinated keeper. There's nothing in this that says we're going to possess the damn ball. Nothing. And that's a positive of the system, and it's a drawback of the system. Because if you go against a team like a Manchester City who has players who can dribble in a shoebox, they're going to break your press.
Yep.
And you have guys who are still going to press at 110 miles an hour. They're going to burn out very quickly, and they're going to be doing a lot of chasing.
But then also, if you play a team like West Brom, right, if you want to bring Big Sam back into the mix, he's going to say, no, I'm not going to try to dribble through your press. I'm not going to deal with your press. Here, you have the ball, and we're going to sit way back here, and you want to play, go for it. And that can be a drawback to some of these types of teams as well.
It is. And you're going to have, and we've talked about this before whenever Atlanta United plays the New Jersey Red Bulls, and that is that, look at when Red Bulls give up possession, and look when Atlanta United shots on goals start going up. It's like toward the tail end of the first half and toward the tail end of the second half, because all it takes is one player or 2 players that start getting a little tired to not be as quick, because it's since it's coordinated press, you have an outside midfielder who goes to somebody, and then a 6 who's supposed to push over here, and you're supposed to turn a pass completion percentage of 70% maybe into a 50-50, and in doing so, every ball is contested, and so you're demanding that every person on the other team be a ball winner who can retain the ball, and that's not the case because not all teams are built like that, but that doesn't mean the team that, that means that you're asking a lot of your players, and 1 or 2 guys don't press as quickly as they should. They don't close down as quickly as they should. Now there's a space that can be exposed, and if you are a team that has any sort of ball handler available, they're gone.
Philadelphia yesterday, prime example.
Yeah.
And Philadelphia has a different flavor of pressing, but Jim Curtin has been very clear in talking about his affinity for Jesse Marsch and style of play and how they've talked about it a lot, and Curtin has embraced it a lot more over time. And you saw it yesterday in a very easy-to-digest manner. They didn't have depth because of the COVID issues. They had their front 6, for the most part, McGlynn inserted into it, but he's played a decent bit. So 5 of your front 6 was pretty consistent. But you had no one to spell them. And early on, Philly was fine. Why? Because they were playing in the other half. They were pressing. They were disrupting New York City, who was flat. And New York City wasn't testing the Philadelphia backline that only had 1 regular on it. As the game went on, and Philly didn't have subs, or Jim Curtin elected not to use them, which I can understand why, but that's probably the number one thing that he's looking at today that, man, If I had brought on Paxton Aronson and Anthony Fontana, 2 players with some experience, the fresh legs, not the same quality as your Jamiro Monteros or your Casper Shabilkos, but the fresh legs might have protected my back line more because it's all built on playing in the other half. And so many different teams have, and managers have different variations of these elements. I think roughly you make a decision as a coach when you're thinking about how you want to be. Do you want to play with the ball or do you want to play without the ball? It starts from there, and then you have a flow chart off of that. But if you want to play with the ball, yes, you can still have pressing components, and good teams do. If you play without the ball, you got to make a decision. Do you want to sit deep and play on the counter, or do you want to play in the other half and be on the front foot but without the ball?
Right.
You have to make these kinds of decisions, and the reason why I think the Jesse Marsch and Ralph Rangnick and throw Chris Armas into it and all these different things are interesting is you're seeing evolutions play out in real time. Jurgen Klopp is a prime example.
Yes, absolutely.
Jurgen Klopp, and Rangnick has talked about it before taking this job. When you take Mo Salah, you take Sadio Mane, you take guys like that and put them into Liverpool's team with Jurgen Klopp, they were not guys who played pressing soccer.
No.
But they've been able to add that to their game because Jurgen Klopp is a great manager. Jurgen Klopp has also had to back off a little bit of full 100 miles per hour press because teams just said, you know what, here, take the ball, do what you want. We're going to sit back because you guys are a lot better than us. So they've had to learn how to play. They've went more towards Guardiola and the Dutch style of we want the ball, we cherish the ball, we will always want to have the ball and we'll be patient with it, and we don't have to play 100 miles an hour with the ball. But when we don't have the ball, we'll play 200 miles an hour to get it back because we want the ball.
Right.
And that was when we talked about Gabriel Heinze and the way he interpreted it, Marcelo Bielsa. Bielsa, his teams play very high energy, very high press, but they want the ball. And they have the possession numbers to back it up. It's not the same thing as a Rangnick. It's not the same thing as this style. Julian Nagelsmann is another one who has went down the Klopp kind of evolution, taking it into different routes. And that's what got Jesse Marsch in trouble. And Mintzlaff, the CEO at Leipzig, said as much. And his comments, I think, are really, really interesting about why it didn't work with Marsch. And Derek Ray had this translated and shared it on his Twitter account, which is a must follow. He said the question was from Sport 1 in Germany was, why wasn't it a good match with Marsch and Leipzig? He said, you hired him because he had a style you wanted. Why doesn't that fit any longer? And Mintzlaff said, that's right. We appointed him with complete conviction because he had shown in previous jobs what attractive football, and look, attractive football, that's subjective. Everybody can feel that way. But they liked what he was doing. They wanted to bring him in. They assumed that the squad, and logically they made 1 or 2 personnel decisions regarding new players together with him, so he got a couple players he wanted. They thought it all would fit. And this is what Mintzlaff says that's the important element. But theory is one thing, and practice is something else. And if we had known this, then we wouldn't have appointed Jesse, and Jesse wouldn't have come to us. The fact is, of course, after Julian Nagelsmann, the team had taken another development in comparison with the Ralph Rangnick and Ralph Hasenhüttl days. We have a few players who worked under these 2 coaches. We're a little bit away from the classic RB football and more inclined towards solutions in possession. Of course, with Jesse, we wanted, to some extent, to reinstate the core philosophy. That didn't work because the team at the end of the day, and we must also hold the team responsible after the matches we've seen recently, wasn't ready to take on these convictions and follow the match plans. So very simply, Leipzig saw what Nagelsmann did. Nagelsmann left. They said, we want to go back a step. We want to go backwards a step and get back to our core philosophy. But the players, and Mintzlaff makes it clear that it's not all on Jesse Marsch, the players weren't ready to play that way, follow the match plans, because they had been brought in to play something a little different, something a step further removed from the core philosophy. Not removed in the good way, bad way, just different.
It's just different.
It's just different. And that's why it didn't work. And Jesse Marsch went to Mintzelhoff 2 times after match day 7 and after match day 10, where he thought he wasn't the right fit because it wasn't working. That's credit to Jesse Marsch because it wasn't.
Right. And look, hey, we talk about a brilliant guy, and though said if you can party like a kid, but you better wake up like a man. And it looks like Jesse Marsch woke up like a man one morning and said, twice, and said, hey, I might not be the guy for you on this one. So a super credit to him, because there's not a lot of people out there, men, women, doesn't matter, who would sit there and go, hey, I know I'm getting paid a really handsome salary right now. I don't know if I'm the person to be doing this job. And Valeri Lobanovsky, again, the person who, a lot of these high-pressing teams, and especially the gegenpressing teams, look to, lamented after the fall of the Iron Curtain that his style of pressing, this coordinated counterpress, was a cultural thing. And he said, I don't know if it culturally fits anymore, where I fit into this anymore, because the kids don't want to do it. They're not willing to bust their butts for a collective goal, like to get to dominate like this. You have to believe with every fiber of your being, I'm going to do my work because I know the person next to me is doing the same amount of work. And to kind of pull from Anthony Bourdain, line cooks and Marines can line up and say, yep, I know exactly what he's talking about. And it's the same thing here with this kind of press. And Jesse Marsch is a strict adherent to those philosophies. And when I talk about this system and why I love it, it is not because I think it is the optimal system that all top teams need to be running. It's not. It is an on-ramp. I think it is the most effective on-ramp for players. I think it's the most effective on-ramp for teams that don't have any sort of significant budget to compete and need to avoid relegation and need to play something that I think is a bit more attractive than the pure bunker tactics that we see out of some of the cellar dwellers.
Yes.
No, we're just going to park 19 people in front of the goal and you're not going to score on us. That sucks. I'm sorry. I don't care who you are.
Yeah.
It sucks. And so I would rather have someone say, we are going to be a buzzsaw in your face for 90 minutes and we're going to turn this thing into like a 4-3 game. We don't care. But culturally, you must have buy-in. And this is why Ralph Rangnick's contract policies are what they are, which is, again, first contract, maybe sometimes second contract. After that, it's like retiring racehorses. Like they're not going to run for you anymore. You got to get them out.
But that's one thing. That's one place where I'll disagree with you on it being an on-ramp for players. Is I don't think it is actually. I think it's like a production line essentially, not a production line. It's like a factory line because those players are washed after playing in that system. I think we're seeing it with Leeds, and different system, but some of the same principles, where you keep that same group together for a period of time. Those guys are done for a while. It's like you take a band, and I've been watching about old bands here for a while. I was watching a documentary on Lynyrd Skynyrd earlier. And Lynyrd Skynyrd, when they changed management in the 70s, and this was kind of the middle of their career, when they changed management, the manager who came in was like, these guys are not going to last very long because they're a bunch of drunken morons. And we're going to tour them non-stop. And they were on a tour that was the equivalent of playing in this pressing style. It was all over the place. It was crazy. It took everything out of them. Their drummer had a nervous breakdown in London. All this stuff happened, and it took them time to not get off the road, but to get away from everything to be able to write songs again.
Sure.
So it's what this system is to me is it can be, if you have the right players, an equalizer for teams that are not going to spend as much money on talented players. Because what's cheaper? A brilliant player on the ball or a guy who's going to run all day? The guy's going to run all day. And you can find those guys a little bit more. And they're not everywhere. And there's some places in the world that you could not take this kind of a style and have it fit because it doesn't fit the culture of the game in that country. Mm-hmm. Like you're not taking the style to Mexico, for example. It's not going to work. You're not going to be able to do that in Mexico for any long period of time. That's why Bielsa didn't spend a lot of time there.
I don't know how I don't think you could do that at Azteca for sure.
No. There's places where you literally can't, and the style doesn't work. I think it can be effective to a point. And the point is one of two things. Either you've had the group together too long, and they're burned out, because they've been running nonstop for 4 years, and they can't run anymore. Mm-hmm. Or you get into where Leipzig is. And Leipzig is not the plucky upstarts anymore that they used to be.
Nope.
Plucky maybe is never the right word when it comes to a Red Bull franchise, but they were upstarts, and they were able to disrupt the system on the field too. And Rangnick brought something different, and he wasn't the only one doing it, but he brought a lot of that different, and they were able to catch people by surprise. But then when you become a power in and of yourself, teams are going to do what we've talked about. They're going to sit back, and they're going to eliminate those areas that make you strong. You've got to have something else you bring to the party. And I feel like the more hardcore you go down the road of a style, and we've talked about this with Bielsa, I would put Rangnick into this as well. That's why I think this appointment is just fascinating, beyond belief, of him being at Manchester United.
Right.
Guys like that generally can't win with mega big clubs because teams approach those clubs differently. Mm-hmm. When you're Leeds getting back into the Premier League, when you're Leipzig on the way up, yes, you can play your style, and it's going to catch people by surprise, and they're going to think they can beat you because they don't really look at you very strongly. Then when you become a heavyweight yourself, or you become at least established, like in Leeds' case, it's a lot harder for you to do that. So this Rangnick idea to me is fascinating because of multiple things. Teams are going to look at Manchester United and approach them and say, Cristiano Ronaldo, Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, this attack, I got to sit back. I can't risk anything. So I'm going to put numbers behind the ball. I don't want to get caught. Right. So I'm going to play defensively, and your bottom half of the league will do that. Also, then the flip side, are you going to be able to get, in a quick period of time, the buy-in from mega superstars to play that way? Or the third possibility, and this is the fascinating one, and it doesn't look that way based off what we're seeing and hearing, is Rangnick going to find a middle ground this year, because he's going to have to this year? Next year, different story, because he doesn't have a preseason, so he doesn't have time to really train these guys in that way. Is he going to be able to find something in between that starts to incorporate what he wants, starts to lay down the basics of the DNA, but get results as well? Because this is not go and have your idea and your theory, and if it works, cool. If it doesn't, whatever. This is Manchester frickin' United. This is win the Premier League, win the Champions League, win every trophy. I don't care about your style. Mm-hmm. So it's mind-blowing that this is even happening to me. And I don't know how it ends.
Right. And it's... I saw earlier today, and on the Twitch pitch, I think it was it Niall who asked about it. He's like, the summer's going to be the transfer window is going to be interesting for him. I think he made a reference about splashing cash. No, I don't think you're going to splash much of any cash coming up. I think they're going to, if Rangnick has his way in this, and he's able to stay on, because again, getting the job's one thing, keeping the job something entirely different. They are going to, and this is what a selling point of Ralf Rangnick is. His mode of football is very economically friendly. And these teams that especially are trying to, get books balanced and all that, they understand that. All these big billionaire, hedge funds, they understand profit margin, and so does Ralf Rangnick. You're probably going to see more departures than anything else, and you're going to see the elevation of youth talent, which gets English fans all excited and everything. But to me, it was a really dumb decision on his end to take this job right now. Because there's no, you would have to walk in and essentially be like some legend, expect some legend reception to get the buy-in from Cristiano Ronaldo, Paul Pogba, and all these other. And no, you're not going to get it. And I have seen nothing in Ralph Rangnick's career that tells me he's going to do anything half-assed regarding this. He just got through on a speaking tour for anybody who put a camera in front of him. They said, I said it 5 minutes ago. You can't do a little pressing. It's like being a little pregnant. You got to go full on with this thing. And to your point earlier about the systems, and once everyone starts catching up with it, it becomes easier to defend. Look at for college football fans who are new to soccer and they're trying to figure out how to equate this. Remember when Georgia Southern played Alabama, and Nick Saban had.
This is what I was going to ask: is a Georgia Southern, a Georgia Tech under Paul Johnson, the Navy, Army, the Fear, Navy, Army? Is this the example that's an analogy here?
Yeah, and it's when you put a team like Georgia Southern against Alabama. Nick Saban said they ran through us like blank through a tin horn, and they hung numbers on him. I think Georgia Southern had the highest rushing totals I think that season on Alabama, the whole time. But if you take a triple option team like Navy and you put them against another triple option team like Army, the game grinds down to nothing, and you're like, how this triple option works on all these big boys. How does it? Because you don't see it every day. Yeah. It's extraordinarily difficult for you to prepare for it. The way you defend it, you had to put a quote unquote, you had to put a hat on a hat when it comes to defending the veer. It's different than how they do things in the SEC, because they haven't seen the veer in the SEC since 1964, right?
And there's a reason, and that's I think the element when we get into this is so different and amazing and all that. Yeah, it is, but there's a reason why not everybody does it, because it has a low ceiling for success. It's great for a lesser team, a lesser resourced team, I think is the best way to put it. Whether you're an American football team that can't recruit the big uglies on the offensive line, that doesn't have the star quarterback, that doesn't have those priority skill, high dollar, yes, I'm talking college, high dollar value guys.
I could tell you some stories.
Oh, I could tell you some stories. Anyway, you don't have those guys. So what do? You do something different because it's what you have. If you are Leipzig or Leeds in the second division or any of these other clubs that have gone down this road, you don't have Lionel Messi. You don't have those guys. Barcelona was able to find, and that's where I get fascinated by it going either way. And generally it's come possession teams have added elements of pressing. Because Barcelona, when they were at their peak under Guardiola, they were devastating without the ball in getting it back quickly.
And how long did they press for?
3 seconds.
They pressed for 3 seconds?
They were faster. They allegedly, of course. Right. I'm sure they're not actually clocking I remember
it being 8, but
if I remember right with Guardiola, I think they said 3. It wasn't like it is under Rangnick. It was like, okay, you want to try to win it back immediately within 3 seconds. If you don't, then you drop. It was very different.
But it's so dangerous because you had a gang of kids, and that really, because he promoted some Barcelona B players up there. I mean, he had a gang of kids who could play in a shoebox. You could put 4 Barcelona players in a shoebox.
But they could also win the ball back quickly. They could do both, and I think generally you see the possession-based teams, the ball-playing teams, will add elements to it and become a little more complete at times. I don't think you see it the other way because it's just so foreign. It's like asking the triple option team to be good passing. You can't get that. Can you get a quarterback who maybe not is running the triple option because you don't want him to get hit so much, but you can get a quarterback who can get out and run but still throw the ball? Yes. But you can't ask a guy who is not built to do that to all of a sudden be throwing. just like with these teams, I don't think it's easy to ask them when a team drops off, and we saw it with Jesse Marsh and when the playoffs with Red Bulls. We've seen it in other games where teams say, no, here, have the ball. We're not going to get pressed. It's harder for them to adapt. That's where I say it creates like a low ceiling. You can get more out of a lesser group to a point, but then you hit a wall, whether because you become too big to play that way, and players are making too much money, and they're not going to listen to their lunatic coach who's asking them to run through a wall every day. They're going to say, I'm going to go drive my Maserati. I'm tired. Bye. Like, you get to that point, or you just get to a point where teams aren't going to allow you to do what you do, and you don't have a plan B. You don't have that alternative way you can beat somebody.
And here's the thing. You're walking into a league, if you're Ralph Rangnick, where you have Thomas Tuchel, who is on your coaching tree.
Takes elements
Klopp,
of it.
who's a huge Rangnick enthusiast. They understand
it.
They understand how to take it to another level. And part of the way of taking it to the next level means that they dissect it. They know how to break it down. They know where everyone goes wide, maybe. At a goal kick situation, instead maybe they collapse in and they make the space far smaller, and now your pressing guys are coming in from odd angles, which create space, and now you can break through it a little bit easier. You're going against the Grand Master in Pep Guardiola. Yes, you can say, well, Pep Guardiola only has super expensive teams, man. It doesn't matter. Like, he's got players and the knowledge to break down just about anyone, and he knows how to do it.
The good thing for Rangnick, and I'm looking at the schedule for Manchester United, because if they played Liverpool or Chelsea anytime soon, they would get eaten alive because they'd get caught in the halfway of doing some of what Rangnick wants but not being able to commit to it. They don't play them. And he really gets a nice on-ramp right now. Champions League, they've got young boys Wednesday. Then they go to Norwich. Now you're going to have to deal with Norwich not wanting... Well, Norwich actually try to play a little bit, so that's not quite as much, but they're not going to play a ton. You go to Brentford. They're not going to play a ton. You host Brighton. You go to Newcastle. You host Burnley. You host Wolves. That takes you up to the January 3rd. Like, that's what he has coming up. That's a lot of wins.
Yeah.
That's a lot of comfortable
that gets you right
wins.
To the January transfer window, too,
yeah,
if you want to try to do anything.
But you're not going to do... But you're going to be busy, but not the same kind of busy. And I think this has to be understood. Right. Like, you're going to go get some guys, but you're going to go get, like... I think they've been linked to a midfielder and a left back from Leipzig. Like, they're going to be linked to guys who understand the system and can come walk in and play it. And if you have slip-ups with these big-name stars, Rangnick's a little crazy. He'll be like, yeah, sit. I don't care. Shut up. Like, go sit. I'm not going to play you. You're not going to run. You can sit.
Exactly.
Now, Cristiano Ronaldo may be a little different because he knows he needs that goal scoring.
Well, he's already done the buttering up of Ronaldo. He's like, he's the most physically in shape person I have ever seen in my life. Like he's already doing the necessary bits.
So the schedule's perfect. Like, it's wild. You get January 15th, you go to Villa, then you host West Ham, then you go to Burnley, then you host Southampton, then you go to Leeds, then you host Watford. We're into March now, where you get Manchester City on March 5th. They go across town to play City then. Then they get Tottenham, then they get Liverpool, then they get Leicester.
Tottenham will be tough.
Yeah.
Tottenham will be tough.
But that's March. So you got time. You got a lot of time.
But here's something my brain has been working, right? I'm trying to remember from Blazing Saddles. My brain is, I'm trying to remember. But it's, one of the teams that Rangnick is very, very of is the Arrigo Sacchi AC Milan side that could press you to high heaven, but then they had a whole bunch of Dutchmen on that squad who could possess the hell out of the ball. Maybe there's something to the idea that Rangnick is instilling the pressing aspect of it, and then he drops the consultancy role and hands the keys over to a certain Dutchman who comes in and installs the possession aspect, and now you have yourself a press and possess squad. Maybe
the interesting element, and And Bernd has a good point about this on the Twitch pitch, and this is where it gets interesting for me, is on the field, I'm with Bernd, I'm with some other people on this. I don't think it makes any sense. I don't think the appointment makes any sense. I'm not buying it. I don't think it's going to be successful, although that schedule, I think a lot of people could be successful with that. Mm-hmm. But where it can be very impactful is all of the off the field side of creating the soccer side of the operation, which, remember, previously when Manchester United was a powerhouse, it was all in Sir Alex Ferguson's brain. Everything was there, and he did what he thought was right, and generally he got a lot right. When he left, that was gone. There was no infrastructure. So now you're going to have somebody who understands that and has done a good job at doing that, and he'll create that. The problem is going to be something that Ralph has ran into in different jobs along the way. Can he get that done? Can he be successful on the field right now? Because they have to get into the Champions League next year. The financials, you got to do it. It's so important. You got to do it. Manchester United's not going to go broke if they don't. But yes, they got to get into the Champions League next year.
Right.
So he's got to have success on the pitch. All right. Can he revamp the behind the scenes? Can he have success on the pitch? And can he not piss everybody off? Because he's had an issue with that. Because Ralph, if you didn't see that first press conference, and you're going to see plenty more, Ralph likes Ralph a lot. Mm-hmm. And he's going to tell you how much he likes himself and how much he knows. And he's going to tell the people that he's working with the same things. And that can wear thin if everything else doesn't come correct. If everything else doesn't work out. And can he get all these things done before he runs himself out of town?
Yeah.
We'll see.
On the coach's voice, had a sit down with him in the middle of the pandemic, and they discussed. They actually opened it up for a Q&A, which I thought was pretty interesting because they were just like, "All right, come on, if you got a question for Ralph, have at it." And this American guy pipes in and says, "Hey Ralph, I run this academy out here in America, and it's a girls' squad, and I'm just kind of thinking about some of your strategies." And Ralph cuts him off. He's like, "You can implement this with anyone.
Yeah,
the way that I structure it, you can implement it with anyone." Ralph he believes in this thing like people believe in the New Testament, and if you do not share that belief with him, you will find yourself ostracized very quickly. And that is why he's making the hires that he is. Because if you have players who go to one of the assistants who maybe is more of the Julian Nagelsmann kind of guy who's like, "Hey, look, be patient. We're going to start possessing the ball soon. It's going to be fine." No, you're going to be met with Jesse and Chris Armas who are going to be like, "Yes, pressing is wonderful. Pressing."
It's not wrong.
You're going to be with the coaching Stepford wives. And so that's who you're going to be meeting. And if you're not down with that, you're going to be out the door. Mm-hmm. And again, I love it. Obsessing over Catenaccio, right? I grew up with the idea that had fallen out of fashion and was reviled by the world could be revived somehow, right? We move the sweeper around. There's ways that we can, we move the libero around. And when you go and you do the research on Catenaccio, what happened was, guys said, look, it was entered that actually, Helenio Herrera said, "We had the highest scoring teams in Serie A. I don't know why people hate this thing so much. The problem was everyone else started running it. They did a piss poor job of it, and they canceled each other out, and nobody innovated, right?" And so that's what happens with this system is everyone starts running it, elements of it, but you have a few people who are, I don't want to say transcendent, but yeah, Pep Guardiola's transcendent. He's going to be he's going to be on the Rushmore of legendary soccer coaches who have figured out how to get around it. And Klopp knows how to get around it, and Tuchel knows how to get around it, and more importantly, they have the players with the technical ability necessary to hold the ball as long as they want, and then if they give it up, it's no problem because they have talent at the front, the middle, and the back who can handle it and start the cycle over again. But the system is an on-ramp. It does not need to be your way of life. And unless you are one of those bottom feeder teams. I think Venezia needs to call up Jesse Marsch. And you got a super young team. You got guys who can run. Get Jesse Marsch in there. Let him be the face of your whole, fashion campaign. And let him go out there and put the gegenpressing in at Stadio Penzo. I mean, why not? But this is not something that I think a Manchester United needs to do as a default system, unless they have a plan.
I don't think they have a plan.
First off, Ten Hag.
I think they got no plan. They got no plan.
I don't think so either.
They're flailing around, and this is what they settled on. I also think Ralph probably sold them a hell of a proposal. I think he had an incredible PowerPoint and won the day with the PowerPoint. And now I don't
His PowerPoints are very convincing. I'll say that. His PowerPoints are very convincing.
I don't know if they know what they're in for. I don't know if Ralph knows what he's in for completely either, because he's never been at a club like this either.
But I think that Ralph saw an opening to assume more control when he's in the job. I mean,
he's an Anglophile. He loves England.
Yeah,
he's an Anglophile. He loves England.
Ralph.
This is his way in. But I do think that to take control of one of the legendary clubs, John. I think to your point, to take control of one of the legendary clubs and resurrect it and have it like, see, look what I have built. Right. I have rebuilt this before. I have rebuilt Babylon.
You're misunderstanding me. I don't think that Ralph didn't know what kind of club he was going to. I'm saying I don't think Ralph necessarily understood what he's in for at this club, because he's never been in this situation. Yeah, like, of course he wanted the job. I mean, again, Ralph is all about Ralph. And Ralph just got one of the biggest clubs in the world.
And look what I did.
He went from Lokomotiv Moscow as a consultant to managing at Manchester United. That is an incredible PowerPoint.
Yeah. But guys, there's something to be considered about with this outside of just press and all that, which is the economics now of the sport we love are radically different. And the shell game that a lot of these teams are businesses. And we've had this conversation before, and people get snippy. No, this is my club. No. It is a business. It is a publicly traded business. They have to present value to shareholders, and they have to meet the requirements of the stakeholders. And in doing so, one of the ways they have to remain economically solvent. And the days of having managers come in and say, I need this, I need this, I need this, those days for the time being have hit a massive speed bump.
Go tell Daniel Levy that.
I understand, but here's the thing. Spend now, spend later. Dan Levy has spent later. And he is now in the phase of, okay, because I've been cheap for so damn long, I can spend. Where you have some teams that have been spending money, like Manchester United, by throwing just walls of cash into a bottomless bucket with no plan at all, who have to do something radically different to change their game.
I think you're giving them too much credit, Nick. I honestly don't think...
I said they had no plan.
I know, but you're giving them credit in saying that, okay, we need to spend differently. No, I literally don't think that even factored into it. I literally think
I don't think it's spend differently. I think we have to be able to win on the cheap.
I don't know, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't think that went into the thought process. I don't think that had anything to do with the thought process, because they make so much. They're not like the clubs that do actually need to win on the cheap. That's not where Manchester United lives, and I don't think they have a plan. I don't think they had a plan. I don't think that factored into it. I think it was literally, okay, yeah, we have to move on from Ole now. Let's go talk to Conte. Okay, maybe let's not talk to Conte. Okay, no, we didn't move on from Ole yet. Now we moved on from Ole. Now who's available? Crap.
Crap.
Who's this guy who keeps calling and wanting to show us a PowerPoint? Oh, I've heard of him.
Klinsmann? No, click.
No, Klinsmann doesn't know how to make a PowerPoint. Come on. And it would just be like a picture of him like diving like he was really good at.
Stick figure.
No, it'd be pictures
of him on
diving in a Tottenham shirt and talking about how great he was.
Player development needs to be different.
Proactive. He'd say proactive like 527 times and not know what it means. Yes. Anyway, no, it was literally, we need a manager. We don't have one. That's a really good PowerPoint. Sure, let's do it. People say he knows what he's talking about. Okay, cool. I don't think it factored into we want to spend less and win that way. I don't think it factored into long-term planning of we want to go here and then go there. I think it was literally crap. We've got an open chair and we got to do something because everything is pointed to no plan. Like Michael Carrick as an interim and then leaving the club after winning his last game. Like, yeah, I'm out. I don't want any part of this. I'm done. Bye. I'm out.
Well, my disagreement comes from this standpoint, though. It's as follows. I don't think they have a plan. I will agree with you on this, but I do think they are looking at that guy who they spent money on up at the top, and they're like, I don't care if this guy is the $6 million bionic man. He can't go for too much longer, and so. What's going to happen when we need to replace him? Okay, what Paul Pogba's been talking about wanting to leave for God knows how long. What's going to happen when he leaves? We have no player development strategy at all. We have no plan to replace these guys who are going to be gone. We have a guy in defense who we spent a wall of money on who's been essentially either fouling people into oblivion or he's been letting them through like a turnstile, putting himself out of position. What do we do? Okay, and then Ralph Ragnick calls up, I have a history of developing players. I can get you a tremendous financial return. Oh, whoa, okay.
They ding, ding, ding.
But that's but that's not as well anything.
It's recognition. It's recognition of a problem. You can recognize you have a plan and not necessarily have a plan in place.
If we were talking about somebody else, a different club, I'd back you. But Manchester United's not hurting for money. They're not going to be hurting for money.
It doesn't have to do with them just hurting for money. It has to do with the fact that how much money have they spent on people in the past, and they can't replicate that. They have to find a more sustainable way of doing business.
They don't care.
Even the big boys.
No, I do not think that's the case because of how much money they bring in. They make more money than any other club in the world.
Yes.
And they have it. So when Ronaldo's time is done, they will go buy another Cristiano Ronaldo of whatever ilk, and they probably will get it wrong because they've done plenty of that. But they will go buy another one. And part of their brand and part of how they make this money is not by having the former central midfielder at RB Leipzig who nobody knows who he is. It's having stars. And you have stars.
So why are they bringing in the guys from Leipzig if they're
because right now Rangnick is the one who has any kind of control there. They have no system. They have no plan. We don't even know who the director of football is who's making decisions at this point. Rangnick is the only one with any kind of control. And as we go back to the tactics, he doesn't care about stars. He doesn't care about what Manchester United is. He wants guys who can play his system because he ain't changing his system. So it's not about spending less money. That's why we want to go get these guys. It's we hired this guy based off this amazing PowerPoint. I'm exaggerating with the PowerPoint. I don't know. Maybe he showed a deck of some other different maker. It might not have been PowerPoint. But he got the job, and now he's got power. But he's not worried about how much they're spending. He's wanting a very particular kind of player that will run through a wall for him because that's the way that he believes in the game. It's not about spending less money. He doesn't want to go get Lautaro Martinez.
It's a side effect. It's a benefit. It's a
benefit. No, it's a benefit. But that's different. That's what I'm saying, Nick. Like it's a side effect. It's a benefit. Whatever. It wasn't the plan. It's not the plan. It's something that might happen, but then you're going to get...
It's a selling point of Rangnick, though.
I don't think he's selling it that way. When he talks
about players... because he openly talks about...
But I'm telling you, players, like, Manchester United, that goes over their head. They don't care. They don't care about that, and he's only going to be there...
It's not the same guys who ran it during the glory days.
It's not, but it's the same guys who've made dumb decisions for the last 5 years.
Right, but that's the thing is that the brand to them, the brand
It's not the same brand. It's not.
They think of it's not. That's not. They are aware they're in the dark ages. They don't know how to get themselves out of it. Right? They don't know what their renaissance is going to be. They're currently stuck in like the dark ages where people are still getting like locked in cages with rats. They're trying to figure out where to go. Who's going to start the renaissance for us? And they think it's going to be Rangnick. Now we all agree that the timing of this is kind of wacky, put it very gently. But the way that, from looking at this man and how he sells his system to people and the way he gets buy-in from organizations, and when you look at what Leipzig, if you want to believe the wikis in the world, their club market, Red Bull, their club rose in market value from 120 million to 1.2 billion in his tenure. There are people who look at that and they say, holy blank.
Like, Manchester United's not looking at that and going, holy blank. Manchester United looks at that and yawns.
No, the rich always want to get richer.
They yawn.
So if you can take it from 500 million to 4 billion, 6 billion, the rich always want to get richer. It's the one universal trait of all billionaires. They want more money.
Yeah,
so if you
right.
Guy who can increase the margin,
again,
it works.
But you're not going to be able to sustain your brand that you have built as the biggest club in the world with no-name guys who run through walls. That ain't going to last.
The golden generation was built up by no-name guys who came to their academy.
That's different because they weren't the same brand. They're not that brand anymore.
But they want to get back to developing their own guys.
No, they want to win. They don't want to get back to developing their own guys. They could care less about that.
I think they do.
No, I think they
we'll
want to
disagree
win.
on it. That's fine.
But I think
their days of $100 million purchases are about done.
I really
it's not
think
sustainable. We've looked Neymar.
No. That's the word. You're getting.
Neymar,
Hold on. You're getting into a couple different things here. The overall world of these types of purchases is a different conversation than Manchester United living at the top end of whatever the world is. Manchester United is not going to all of a sudden become a budget club. They will not. They won't do it because there's no way they maintain what they are in Asia, what they are in Africa, what they are in the United States, what they are worldwide with no-name guys. They built it on no-name guys when the game wasn't global yet in that kind of scale. You can look back at those glory days and show Beckham as a kid scoring from midfield and show all that stuff, and you can do that. Sure. But you're not going to base it solely on that anymore. You're going to have superstars. And whatever the high-end price is for superstars, they're going to have them. That's why my personal opinion about this appointment is that it will fail badly. Because I don't think he's the right guy for what that club is. I don't think long-term he'll have success. I do think it's going to be the same old thing that Manchester United has done for years. He will have immediate success. We went through that schedule. They're going to win games. They're going to win a lot of games.
Yep.
They're going to climb up the table. They're probably going to make the Champions League next year on league merit. They should. They're at least the fourth best team in England. They should.
Right.
All that's going to happen, and that's going to trick people, and that's going to make you think, like, it's all perfect now. But then, when you get into, first off, is Rangnick going to be the coach next year? That's a huge decision.
Huge question.
Because if he is, you have to radically remake the roster, not by spending a whole bunch of money in terms of high-value guys. You got to get guys that play his style. And if he's the one calling those shots, then, okay, you're going to go down that road. But that has a short shelf life. And he's only got a 2-year consultant deal, and I don't know how. I mean, maybe he does talk himself into a longer-term deal. I don't know. But in the long term, that style of play, that system will not work at a club that is based on being the glamour club in the world. Because you get the sponsorships with stars. You do get it with trophies to a degree, but you keep it with stars by putting those guys in cell phone ads in Asia, by putting those guys in McDonald's ads in different parts of the world, in Chevy ads or whatever other sponsors they have these days. You put them in those places, and it's not going to be a no-name, hardworking number 6 or number 8 who gets that. They got to have stars, and then you're back to the conundrum with a Rangnick. can he walk the line with being an ideologue of this is how the game should be played,
right,
and having guys who don't have to sacrifice their bodies and run through walls because they're making insane amounts of money.
Yeah.
And that is a really tough balance. I think Manchester United might luck into some of the benefits you're talking about of saving some money, these things, if it goes well for a short period of time. But I think it's a short period of time. I don't think there's any semblance of a plan. I don't think that was the driving factor. I really think the driving factor was, oh, crap. We don't have anybody.
I do
and he sold them on it. And he sold them on it because they did not fire Ole with the intention to go hire Ralph Rangnick.
No, but what Ralph Rangnick brings to the table is something that business people love, which is process. And that
Sounds great.
Which is not a manager that we have who's a club legend and we're going to buy players. That's not process. That's throwing poop at a wall and hoping some hangs out for a while. This managers, you want something that can be a process. You want Ajax runs on process. Manchester City, love them, hate them. What Curtin said about NYCFC is buffoonish. Oil Money FC. They have a process, and Manchester United for too long has gone without process, and they have a guy now. Because here's the thing: you could hire any manager out of Italy right now. None of them have a process. I'm sorry, and there's no development strategy from organizationally how to build a winner. It's buy low, sell high. That's it.
No big club in the world has a process like that, really, outside of maybe big club. Ajax is not a big club in the world. I'm sorry. Bayern might be the one.
But they are competitive. Bayern has a process. Good call. Bayern does have a process.
Bayern is the biggest club with a process.
But what happens is these businessmen want process because it's something that they can go, okay, why didn't this work? The player didn't work. I don't know. The process. They can measure from top to bottom where things fell shy. There's numbers that they can follow and say, okay, we can identify a trend and we can mark how the trend goes and we can this is something we can get a hold of and we can put our arms around. Outside of putting money into one brain like a Sir Alex Ferguson who has this whole thing in his head that when he goes, the entire thing goes with him. You have a process now that has generated coaching trees, that has generated players that they've moved on for substantial market value, and that's something Manchester United has not had in God knows how long. So they made a panic move because they had no plan. They were throwing money and poop at a wall, and now they have a guy. But again, Rangnick is not just you're going to get a process, you're going to make money, but if they bail on Rangnick next year, right? Rangnick says I'm staying, I'm hanging out, and Man United says okay, and they fire him. You're going to get what Georgia Tech has now, which is where you have a team that goes from a triple option and no clear plan on what to do next, you're screwed.
I don't think you do.
You're screwed.
I think if you go next year with him as your manager, yes. Because then you're going to have to rebuild the team to suit him. Mm-hmm. If you hire Ten Hag or you hire Pochettino or you hire one of the 57 different people that they've been linked to, that Rangnick would want to work with, I guess, if he's got something.
Right.
Like, this is the thing about this consultant for 2 years thing. What in the blue hell does that mean? Like, does he just get to sit? Well, for him, of course, because the other thing about Ralph is he likes getting paid. Okay, does he actually have control? Does he just sit in the room and get to offer opinions? Does he get to send emails? Like what? So after
he provides process. That's where the process building comes in. He says I'm not coaching because I have chronic fatigue syndrome or whatever, which is what he said before. Whenever he had, he said because
he needed that check.
He said, "Hey, look, I can't run your operations and be a head coach. I have chronic fatigue syndrome." Team said, "Okay, just be the head guy, and we'll go from there." And so,
but this is the question.
It's
like
process. Though.
Yeah, if he actually has power, which is not necessarily understood if he does or he doesn't, because, again, Manchester United couldn't plan their way out of a wet paper bag.
And I think that's why he thinks he has more power than he may have.
I don't know what he has.
One of these at some point.
I
have no idea.
King, man. He's hand to the king. If you look at the Glazers as the king, he's hand to the king.
No, I don't
he's
think
the one
he is.
who's in the king's ear saying, "Hey, the way you guys have been doing it before, what have you won? You've been spending a lot of money? Mm-hmm. Okay, how about you just do this and this and this and this and this?" Then they go, "Great."
I think if that's the case, Ralph's going to need more PowerPoints. Okay, here's my hot take, and I very well could be wrong in this, and this could work.
Okay.
I think Ralph Rangnick is out of Manchester United in 365 days. I don't think he's there. I don't think maybe he's got a consultant contract where he's going to get paid for 2 years. I don't think he has any influence after a year. I don't. I think
any influence after a year.
I think he's done. I do not think it works. I don't think it works.
Much like we saw with Ole this year, I think that because of that easy schedule that gets you to March, was it, with the Manchester City match that you were looking at?
Yeah.
I think that because of this run of form that you should see, because of all of the competition that you should beat, it's going to be like a false idea of what it could be. It's going to be great this year, and then with the talent that's brought in and what happens next year, I think that next year doesn't start out well.
But the question, John, and this is the question that's not answered. Like, you're saying that assuming he's the coach next year. That's not even understood. It's not understood. Like, does he get to make that call that he's the coach? And as Byrne points out, whenever Rangnick's been the sporting director, his first hire is himself. Mm-hmm. Every single time. Right. So I'm not buying that he'll sit back in a nice chair and watch for 2 years. Mm-hmm. I'm not buying it. So I don't think this is successful. And I think what it is, if you're a Manchester United fan, and look, maybe this very well could be because I don't think the style of play will work at a club this big. I don't think it will work with a club with these expectations, and especially the overhaul it's going to be needed to get there. I don't think it works. And maybe that's my bias against the style of play. It very well could be. I'm upfront about that. But it very well could be. But also, I do not think that Manchester United has any semblance of knowing what they've gotten themselves into. And if you're a Manchester United fan, I think the scary element of that is you go too far down this road because you got sold by a PowerPoint and desperation, and then you do start to overhaul the roster. And then you get to where Leipzig is, to where you're stuck. You're stuck between two different ideas. They wanted to go backwards in time. They couldn't go backwards in time because they had a roster built for the previous coach. They went back to the coach before the previous coach in a lot of ways, and Jesse Marsch, he couldn't do anything with it. It didn't work. It didn't suit him. So then you're going to get into a situation where you're going to have to probably rebuild again. And look, they've got the money to do it, and they've got the brand, and they've got the cachet, and they can do that. But it's just another time of being stuck. And you're at risk in England right now of watching Tottenham go past you because they have a better coach. You're at risk of watching Arsenal go past you because they have a good young up-and-coming coach. And they're actually building something for the long haul, it appears. You're at risk of watching Newcastle go past you because they can actually spend like you. Mm-hmm. And that's the scary part. And you're already behind Manchester City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. And there is no sign of that changing anytime soon. Mm-hmm. If Manchester United gets this wrong, and I think they already have, they could be looking at a scenario when they realize they get it wrong of being not first, second, or third, because that's City, that's Liverpool, that's Chelsea. Mm-hmm. Not fourth, fifth, or sixth, because that is Newcastle eventually, maybe not for a little bit of time. Maybe that helps Manchester United out. I don't know. Tottenham and potentially Arsenal. You always get your wild card of a West Ham, a Villa, somebody like that who can pop up. Maybe Stevie G is the greatest coach we haven't seen, at that level yet. Who knows? We'll see. Mm-hmm. They run the risk of being in the bottom half of the top 10 if they get this wrong for a while.
I disagree with you guys on this. I think that, and here's why, is that, if it goes sideways, it can be bad. I will completely agree with you on that. And this is boom or bust. It's not.
I think this move is. Yeah.
But fair. But if you hire Erik ten Hag now, let's say he was free and you were able to bring him in, you're not going to get amazing, substantial results right away. It takes time, as we have seen, and everyone else who has tried to implement the Ajax system anywhere outside of Ajax has discovered, with the exception of Johan Cruyff at Barcelona, that if you don't get the allowance of time to build something and from the academy up, you're not doing anything. It's going to fall apart, and they don't have time to implement a Ten Hag Ajax style rebuild. They don't have it. They
don't have time to do a Rangnick
in the past.
They have less time. No, they have less time because it's an even more strong overhaul.
No, because they can, if they move players out, right? If they move players out and they transfer them out, those contracts come off the books, and they can go into the transfer market and they can make stupid purchases all the hiddly long day. But they're being put against nation-state backed teams in Man City and Newcastle, and then they have other teams that are backed by billionaires, just like the Man United style. And I guarantee you that they looked across the way and they saw the money troubles happening over at Barcelona with buy, and they said, okay, if that can happen at Barcelona, who at one point, not too terribly long ago, was on equal branding with us. No, we have no process, and we can't do what they're doing, and we have to somehow keep up with these characters over here, and we can't outspend them. So what do? We out-process them. And that's what's going to happen right now. They're going to call it an innovation. They're going to call it whatever, and they have to out-process these teams, just like what you saw in Germany, Das Rebo. They had to go through, and people changed process, and those German teams became more competitive on a global stage, far faster than if they went and they tried to replicate by bringing in a Louis van Gaal or these other Dutch managers who say, I can put what they've done at Ajax and institutionalize it. No. If remember
Bayern
what happened
did,
with Crystal
really.
Palace.
Bayern did that. Bayern.
But
Bayern brought in Van Gaal, and then Guardiola progressed it, and they have stayed away from the rest of it.
But the thing is, though, is that they were willing to make radical shifts, right? Did they make radical shifts in how they did their business from top to bottom?
Yes. The business, yeah, but on the pitch, no. They went and they got, because they never had a style, per se, at Bayern. Mm-hmm. They went and they got Van Gaal, and that was part of it. And that was the only real style they ever had, and that's when they went and got Guardiola, and that was the idea, was we want to progress, build on what we like, and progress, and that was what they did. Now that's different. So they did not go down the...
But they have no... They had a plan, right?
Bayern? They've been a well-run business.
I feel like it's like a Hunt for October spinoff. Like, Germans don't take a dump without a plan.
No. Bayern's been a well-run business in general. They wanted style. They would never go down this road in terms of style of play because they wanted a style. They wanted more than that.
They hired one of Rangnick's disciples. He has his own brand, his own tweak on it.
But he's past that now, though. Yes.
Right, but the evolution was allowed to take place in an environment that had one fundamental building block on it, and it was competitive out of the gate, and that is what the Rangnick style does. Now, Nagelsmann was allowed and pushed back against Rangnick when he was doing things like horizontal passing and backwards passing and doing more of the possession work, and Rangnick was like, this isn't what we're supposed to be doing, and Nagelsmann's like, well, this is what I'm doing.
But now you'll see Nagelsmann have success in a bigger way, because he's going into a club that is coming at it from the opposite side. He can add the elements of pressing and things to what was already there before from the Van Gaal and then Guardiola eras. And but now it's going to be more successful.
Block. You said they have no plan. They have no building block except players.
Manchester United won't have a building block under Rangnick either, because what he's going to want to do won't. It's not going to.
No, but they remove problematic contracts from the books. They can go into the transfer market and they can get players who fit his style now. And then when he walks away next season to be his consultant or sporting director or whatever role he wants to hire himself as, then you're looking at, okay, he has this track record of getting guys who are unbelievably successful. Maybe he can do the same for us, and then you have a process in place. And I know you don't like it, and we're going to agree with it.
No. I think you're giving what I'm afraid of.
You think I'm giving him too much credit?
No, not Rangnick. Whatever. Like it's about Manchester United. I don't think they did this because of wanting to save money. I don't think they did this because of wanting to create a footballing style. I don't think they did this because of any other reason other than they were sold a bill of goods, which Ralph sold them on, and that's credit to him.
Yeah.
And they were desperate. And I think that's all it was. I really, truly don't think they understand to really go down this road, what it's going to take and what it's going to do. Because if they really go down that road, one, I don't think they win, because I don't think the style of play beats Tuchel, Klopp, Guardiola right now. I don't think it does. I don't think it will. Because I think you're going to have to get less talented players to do it, and I think they're better coaches, more well-rounded coaches. So I think you're going to be where you should be now anyway, fourth. So that's going to be a failure. And I don't think it's going to help your bottom line in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, you might. You're not going to make money on selling Ronaldo. You're not going to make money on selling Sancho. You're not going to make money on selling anybody right now. You're maybe not going to spend as much in the transfer market, and you're going to get guys who are cheaper and have a shorter shelf life and also are not as marketable. And the thing about Manchester United that is so important to this is, yes, they're not a nation-state owned club. They're not what Manchester City is. They're not what Newcastle is now. They're not what Chelsea is now.
Right.
They can be what Liverpool is right now if they actually had some semblance of a plan, but they have more money than a Liverpool, and they can spend like the others because they bring in so much. Where they're going to freak out is when revenues fall. And it's not the case yet. Now, of course, you're dealing with COVID stuff, so keep that in mind. Like you're still going to have some revenue hits right now. Right. But where they're going to have the issue is when they're not as attractive to sponsors because they don't have stars. I don't think it gets to that because I don't think it's successful enough to get to that point. But that would limit them from going all in because they have a unique setup that other clubs don't because of being the biggest commercial club in the world. They have stakeholders that they got to answer to, and those stakeholders demand stars.
Oh, we agree on that. Yeah. Now, but look, Thomas Tuchel was somebody who got washed out of PSG, was known for being a jerk, hard to deal with.
That's PSG being idiotic.
No, but there were a lot of questions, and Chelsea did all right for themselves with it.
100%.
And what happened?
But he's one of the best coaches in the world. And that part wasn't really in question.
Who did he learn from, right? And you see Klopp, who's a major enthusiast of Ralph Rangnick, who came in and now the difference, obviously, between Klopp and Rangnick is Klopp was intelligent enough to go, okay, boys, we got to do some backwards passing and keep the ball for a minute.
Too.
And Tuchel as well. But the thing is that there are plenty of examples of coaches who have endorsed this style who have been able to be very successful, and that is extraordinarily attractive to a team like Manchester United. Now, I know you think he's going to be gone. I get it. You think they're going to put him on a boat and kick him over to America.
He won't do what Klopp and Tuchel and Nagelsmann, who there's still the jury's out on how successful he will be as well, but so far so good. He is at a club that anybody should win with.
Right.
But you take those three and you say, okay, compare these three to Rangnick. They've went beyond what he's doing. He hasn't progressed like they have, which happens all the time. I mean, that's the usual idea. Like founder's disease. You can only go so far yourself, and others are going to pass you, and they have. Right. He's not going to be them. He's going to be the 10 years ago version of them.
Right.
Which is not as successful. It's just not.
Right, but it's something to start with, and it's like getting Bielsa. Like you may get Bielsa, and at some point Bielsa's going to be gone. But then Bielsa's known for identifying some pretty good guys who could be some fantastic coaches. This guy has an eye for talent, not just on the field, but those who can manage as well. It's a process, and that's a very attractive when we list names like because Ryan, I guarantee you on his PowerPoint, he's like, "Do you see this name right here? What does he say?" He says Thomas Tuchel. You see this name? You see Julian Nagelsmann? Okay. You see this guy Jurgen Klopp? Okay. You know,
and see, then if there was somebody who actually had a plan and would ask a question, then it'd be like, well, why do you keep hiring yourself at all these different places? Then, Ralph, tell me the answer to that one because I don't understand.
Thomas Tuchel.
Yeah, why you
Julian
keep ending up working, not them?
Because I find them.
Please leave with your PowerPoint. Please get out.
This is who you follow. Look, I find them.
Oh, jeez. Anyway,
Donkey Shane.
We've talked about it enough. We will see where this thing goes. Add Xavi's renaissance in Barcelona, Newcastle's newfound richness, and now Manchester United's remaking in terms of what maybe they'll do tactically, maybe what they won't do. Who knows? They're all soap operas, and they're all very different soap operas, and they're all going to be fascinating to watch.
I will make a demand on this, Jason.
I'm
going to make a demand.
What's your demand?
If Rangnick is out in less than 365 days, I need a real promo. I don't need I'm Jason, I win, this is what I do. I need a real promo. It doesn't have to be like Ultimate Warrior, but it needs to be like, I need a real promo.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying.
That's fine.
All right. I want a real promo.
I should probably go ahead and start writing it now, shouldn't I? Should I do it in a PowerPoint style?
I think so.
No, you're going to find yourself with a nice bit of writer's block because the man is going to be sticking around.
That's probably not good, but that's going to be a failure, and we'll see. Maybe they will keep him around and fail while doing it, and then we both are kind of correct in that he stuck around, but it still didn't work. Who knows?
But for those who listen to the show and they say, oh, they only sit there and they agree with each other, please go back and replay the last hour because we have very
Everybody
strong,
already left.
different. Yeah, they're already gone. They're like, Jesus, these guys are complete nerds. But this is like we have very different ideas on what we, on ramps for certain teams, on ramps for players, and we articulate the ideas. And there was no name calling between the two of us, right? We expressed ideas to each other, and we had some of the. And I'm sure Bern can discuss this, like the Austrian coffee shops that they would all go to the coffee shops and scream at each other about football, and then they would have their coffee, they'd have their beer, and they would shake hands and go about their way. So this is what we could do here. Look, see, there was no name calling, there was no crazy put down.
You Nick.
Gosh, John, good person with poor food taste. God, jeez.
Exactly.
Christmas spirit. What's going on the Twitch pitch?
They all left.
They're going berserk.
They're going berserk?
Oh yeah, Will says in all caps that he wants to see pure Rangnick versus pure Bielsa. That's like matter and antimatter, isn't it?
It would be.
No, it's the same. It's two shades of the same thing.
Oh, no, I disagree.
It's shades of the same thing. They're both Leeds will be more comfortable with the ball, but Leeds will also press like hell. And look, Manchester United is not going to be pure Rangnick. They're not going to be pure Rangnick this season.
They're not going to be pure Rangnick this season.
There's no way they can be because they don't. Not even that. They don't have the time. Like they're not going to be able to train it. So I mean, they're going to introduce elements of it, and if Ralph is going to be successful, it's going to be because he learned something in the in-between stage that they're going to be in and says, oh, wait a minute. I can just do some of this, but I don't think he'll be humble enough to do that, to be perfectly honest.
I feel bad for those academy kids, starting like today. Bad for those academy kids, because I guarantee you he's already installing the audio clock at the training ground.
Probably. Yeah, because that's how the game should be played.
8 seconds, baby. Count it off.
Yeah.
We got the ball. Start the clock for 10. And it's on. Everybody can hear it, so that the players build it becomes like autopilot for them.
Let's
the
create
timing
robots. Yeah. Let's create a bunch of robots who are afraid of the ball. Woo!
Process, baby. Process.
Yeah, process can be crap.
The Terminator.
Called crap.
Let's go.
All right. Other things before we jump into picks of the week, because we got that Twitch pitch you got to come up with Sunday. Champions League final games this week. Group A, Manchester City's through as the group winner. PSG's through as the group runner-up. You don't have to watch Group A. Group B, Liverpool's through as the group winner. We know that. Group C, Ajax has won the group. Sporting is the runner-up. D, Madrid and Inter are through, but neither one's locked up who's going to win it yet. E, Bayern is through as the group winner. F, Manchester United's through as the group winner. Group G, nobody's punched anything yet. Everybody's open. Group H, Chelsea and Juve are through, but either one could win the group. So what is at stake this week? Group A, RB Leipzig and John's favorite Belgian club,
Brugge,
are playing for a spot in the Europa League knockouts. Woo! Group B, Porto, Milan, and Atleti are all playing for second place. Mm-hmm. Milan need a win over a probably heavily rotated Liverpool squad. And they need a draw in the Porto-Atleti match to get into the round of 16.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah. No. Yeah.
Porto or Atleti, if you have a win, then whoever wins that goes through. Get ready for Europa League, Nick. Maybe. Or get ready for nothing. That might happen too.
See, so I'm just going to go ahead but I'm going to go ahead and stake my claim for tomorrow. I'm going to go ahead and put Porto and Atleti.
We haven't got there yet. Hold on. Just settle down. We haven't even started picks of the week yet. Group C, don't even watch. Everybody's locked into their spots. Group D, Madrid hosts Inter. If Madrid loses at home, they don't win the group. A draw, they go through. Or they're both going through. A draw, they win the group. A win, they win the group. Okay, whatever. Should be an interesting game. Group E, Barcelona. They do not hold the tiebreaker edge over Benfica, and this is very important because Barca are in Germany to face Bayern, who is through and probably will rotate, but maybe not. If Barca draws and Benfica beats Dinamo Kiev, then they both finish on 8 points, and Benfica goes through, and Barcelona goes into the Europa League. Now, I don't think Manchester United is worried about needing money at this stage. Barcelona absolutely needs every dollar they can find. And winning the Europa League is not as lucrative as reaching the quarterfinals of the Champions League. Now, if they get second, they'll go into the round of 16, not the quarterfinal. They still have to win one round to get there. But the whole Europa League idea for Barcelona, while, yeah, they could go on a run and they could win the Europa League, I could buy that. Not what they need financially. Not what they need financially at all. They have to find a way to beat Bayern in Bayern.
Oh, no.
And hope that Bayern is resting everybody, and maybe hope for a COVID outbreak. Maybe that's what they're looking for.
They have, hey, look, man, they have the monitors on the bottle of water at Barca headquarters. Okay, hey, hold up.
How much do you have in there?
Chip in.
Hey, you let that run for an extra 3 seconds, pal. Yep. What are you doing?
Yep.
Huh? You think that water just grows on trees?
Xavi, we're gonna have to send you to Qatar to do more publicity appointments because we need more money. Come on, let's do this. Group F, Atalanta hosts Villarreal for the final available spot in the knockouts. Villarreal gets through with a draw. Atalanta has to beat them to go through. Group G is drunk. Absolutely, completely intoxicated, keg stands, body shots, all of the above. Lille is on 8. Salzburg is on 7. Sevilla is on 6. Wolfsburg's on 5. Everybody is still alive to win the group. Everybody's still alive for second. Everybody's still alive for Europa League. Everybody's still alive to finish last and go home.
Yep.
Drunk.
Football is life.
Lille.
Also, football is death.
Lille plays Wolfsburg.
True.
A draw is enough to go through. If you draw, they're going to go through. They might finish first, they might finish second, but they go through. Salzburg hosts Sevilla. It's chaos. It's absolute chaos. If you are a fan of chaos, according to CBS Sports, then you want to root for a draw for Salzburg and a win for Wolfsburg, because that would give you 3 teams tied at 8 points, and who knows how they decide that and all of the goal differential and all that, because that's all about the same too. So, yeah. Group H. Chelsea holds a tiebreaker over Juventus. They're both going through. Woo. Somebody's going to win the group. Somebody's going to finish second. Woo. That's all we got. Already locked into Europa League spots. Dortmund going to the Europa League. Not why they kept Erling Haaland to go to the Europa League, but Zenit is going to the Europa League, and Sheriff is going into the Europa League. Locked in. Sheriff will continue playing in Moldova.
Transnistrian soccer continues.
Something like that. All right. Picks of the week from 2 weeks ago, since we did not have a show last time. Hold on. Let me get ready. We'll try to do this in the...
good thing I didn't cut a promo.
Yeah, probably. All right, hold on. Here we...
Post-surgery.
Tuesday, 2 weeks ago, Chelsea hosted Juventus. Jarrett did not participate yet again, probably trying to save his record. Nick picked a draw. Nick was wrong. Everybody else picked Chelsea to win. They got it right. Chelsea was a minus 161, so everybody came out of that with 162 to the good, except for Nick. He was minus 100.
Your money don't make money.
Wednesday, 2 weeks ago, Pumas hosted Club America. Nick and the Twitch pitch picked Club America. You guys were wrong. John and I picked the draw. We were correct at plus 190. Thursday, Galatasaray. Battlestar Galatasaray. Hosted Marseille. I picked a draw. I was wrong. Or John picked a draw. What am I saying? John picked a draw. He was wrong. Wow, I picked Marseille to win. Sorry. I picked a draw the game before. I picked Marseille to win. I was wrong. Twitch pitch picked Marseille to win. They were wrong. Nick picked Battlestar Galatasaray and finally got one right. So through Thursday, John and I were at 352. Nick was at 80, and the Twitch pitch was minus 38.
In the past.
Friday. Hearts of Oak. No, you do that when we make the picks, John. Get your stupid things right. Hearts of Oak were supposed to host Better Come Chelsea. They postponed it because African Confederation of Cups and stuff, and they were supposed to play 2 days later, and they said, no, we're not playing. Sorry. Saturday, Villarreal hosted Barcelona. John picked a draw, as he did for almost every game during the week. He was wrong. The Twitch pitch followed him into wrongness. Nick and I picked Barcelona, and we were correct. So that put me to 602, Nick to 330, John to 252, and the Twitch pitch minus 138. Sunday, Simba SC hosted the Red Arrows. Nick and John picked the Red Arrows. Wrong. The Twitch pitch and I picked Simba SC. Correct. That put me to 735. The Twitch pitch to minus 5. In the negative, Twitch pitch. Minus
Negative.
5.
Negative.
Nick finished at 230, and John passed him for second place by getting the prop bet right. Cards in the CAF Confederations Cup. John was one off, 38, and it was actually 39. So that took him to 252. So, Twitch pitch, 1.5 wins in your 5-6 weeks of participating. Not bad.
6, I think, yeah.
Jarrett, 4.5. He's stuck on that for a while because he doesn't want to play anymore because he's been beaten up so bad. John is at 6.5. Nick is at 8.5. I'm at 15 now. 15. I'm almost legal to drive with all of these wins at this point. So bad.
Doesn't mean you're a good driver.
No, I didn't say anything about being a good driver. I've only had three speeding tickets.
Oh, man, I would not have said anything.
Yeah, I've had 3 in my life.
Oof. Oof. I do not comment. That evil on me.
You've had more. You've had 2?
2.
Have you had any other violations, John?
I mean, I've wrecked automobiles. That doesn't count as a violation.
Oh, that's not good. Well, I mean, no. I haven't done that. That's
a
bigger deal than a speeding ticket.
I have crashed a car and snapped an axle.
I really haven't done that. Jeez.
No, it was a hydroplaning incident when I was 23.
Worst. Oh, those are the worst.
Eek. No bueno.
Yep. Yeah. For those of you out there who are driving on racing slicks, please understand that's not the way to live.
Nope. Two speeding tickets. One was on I-16, and I knew it when it happened. Oh yeah, in that stretch of Lawrence County, the middle of nowhere, right outside of Dublin.
Mm-hmm.
Got one there, and then there was another one in Glasscock County when I was coming over a hill heading into downtown Gibson, and the state trooper was right there, right over the crest. And bang! Oh, I take it back. I had a. There was a
Man, how many
third
incidents
one
have you
that
had?
I had. No, there was a third one in Sly County, but
Sly County,
just north of Americus.
Okay.
And literally, I was leaving a football game, and I got into downtown, and the deputy was hanging downtown Ellaville. And downtown Ellaville city limits, and literally, as soon as I hit the city limits, the sheriff's deputy got me. Mm-hmm. But because I knew folks, I could. I didn't have to pay the fine.
Oh, well, then you didn't get a ticket. Right?
Hey, this guy's connected.
Did you get a ticket and you didn't have to pay it, or did they wipe away the ticket?
Oh, they wiped away the ticket.
Okay, then you didn't get a ticket, so that didn't happen.
Okay, so then it was two. Yeah. So then two with a wipe away.
Yeah, but I haven't broken an axle.
No, that was me. I was coming home. I was out of college, and it had like coming home from Monday Night Football, and I was heading back to my house, and there's a right-hand turn, and it had misted, and you know how when it mists on the asphalt.
Oil.
Yeah, yep. And so literally I was trying to make a right-hand turn and hydroplanes and scaled the curb and snapped the axle on the curb.
Yeah, I haven't done that one. If something happened 23 years ago, it's safe to talk about it, right?
I think so.
Nope.
No? I didn't break any laws. I got a ticket for speeding, but I wanted to talk about the situation, how it happened, because it's very funny.
Nope.
Why?
As your unappointed legal counsel, I'm going to suggest that you do not speak to anything as it, though it may have passed criminal. There's no
criminal stuff.
There could be some civil liability.
There's no civil liability. No, there's nothing like that.
Okay.
No, there's nothing like that.
Proceed with caution.
You'd
be happy you got a friend like me.
Yeah,
who's telling you.
I know, but there's nothing to it. It's just it's funny. Okay. The best speed trap I've ever seen in my life was in Pennsylvania.
Okay.
It was between, I guess, Hershey and the state line, because we played in Hershey. I was driving a van for the Atlanta Ruckus. We traveled for games in 15-passenger vans because we were and that was all we had, and we were running on the league's letter of credit that they doled out to us barely to do things. So I was in college at UGA, and a grad student at Tech was our other front office employee, and we had a player coach, and we had players, and that was it. That was our trip. So we played in Richmond, Virginia on a Thursday, Hershey on a Friday, and then we were driving from Hershey to Raleigh on Saturday to play Raleigh on Sunday. Yeah, welcome to the old A-League. I think at least one of those was a makeup game because the owner decided to basically not spend any more money on the team, and the league took it away, and games got posted and all that. So it was a rental van, 15-passenger van on like a state, or no, I guess it was a U.S. highway. And in the median, they had like these, they looked kind of like weeping willow trees, like just big overhangs. And there were two trees like here and here, like that in the camera. And the overhangs are like this. Car right in the middle. Could not see it until you were right next to it.
That's a good one.
It was really good. I was impressed. I was very, very impressed with the guy's work. But he pulls me over, and I'm the 21-year-old kid driving professional soccer players. It's the A-League. Some of these guys are making a couple $100 a game. I'm driving them. They're cracking up. I'm freaking out. They're cracking up. It was the second ticket I ever got. I got one like a year and a half before that when I just started driving. So I'm freaking out. I was 20 over, I think. Like, going good, but not crazy good.
Yeah.
Right.
So they give me the ticket, whatever. The funny part of it, first, after everybody was laughing their heads off, One, I hit the brakes kind of fast when I did see the cop next to me. And one of the guys was asleep on the bucket. It's a 15-passenger van. Brazilian guy was asleep on it. He goes rolling off into the floor, cursing me out in Portuguese, which was hilarious. Then when I got the ticket, I went to the person that was working on behalf of the league with the team and said, hey, I got a ticket on this trip, and I'm a college kid, and I don't have a ton of money. Can I expense it? Yeah, the league's doing this with a letter of credit. That's fine, whatever. Just expense it. So the league paid my speeding ticket in Pennsylvania. It was amazing. That's awesome. I mean, I paid it, but they paid me back.
Nice.
Thank you, excellent. USISL at the time. He's now something else, but that was 23 years ago. The old owner put the money into the letter of credit, so it's all good. He owed me that at least. I had checks bounce. Oh, the players were absolutely in my ear the rest of the way. But they had a game to play the next day, Turner Kirby, so they couldn't be in my ear too much. And me and the other college student who didn't have to play the next day, we went to downtown Raleigh to the college area at NC State. And it was fun. We had a good night in Raleigh that night.
So Thank you, Francisco Marcos, for paying this ticket.
Yeah. No. Actually, thank you, Vincent Liu, because it was from the letter of credit that he had posted.
Oh. Okay.
And that was probably one of the only things that Vincent Liu actually paid, because I'd had a number of checks bounce, and I drive by old properties of his that are completely like broken out, and it's just a concrete slab at this point. It's kind of sad.
That is true.
Kind of sad to watch. Yeah, not allegedly. That happened.
Those. Let's see. The Presidential Hotel, I think, was his, wasn't
it? Yes. I think that's the one. That's the one at 285, right? Yeah, that's the one that I drive by far too often, and it is just a giant concrete circular thing with no windows anymore. And yeah, that was well after the ruckus days.
They knocked all the boards out.
Yeah.
No. If we're camping in here, baby, we're going to have a view.
Yeah, burned. The league had us drive from Atlanta to Virginia to Pennsylvania to North Carolina and back. And the next weekend, we drove to Hampton Roads, Virginia Beach, and then Charleston and then back. That was 2 weekends of my life that I will never get back, and were absolutely chaotic and insane.
Crazy. Absolutely.
Was it like Blues Brothers, though, when you got back to Atlanta? Did like the tires shoot off of the bus that it kind of collapsed?
No, it was all good. The coming back from Raleigh was fun because we actually won that game somehow after playing the third game in 4 days. We won, and I watched a 1986 World Cup veteran. This is 1998. Smoke half a pack of cigarettes at halftime and go out and just shut down the opposition. Amazing work. Yeah, and then wanted to stop and get beer for the ride home. He's from Bulgaria. I wasn't arguing with him.
No.
The league could have paid that fine too if I'd gotten one, but I did not. Man, chaos.
All right.
Back in the day. All right, so picks of the week. I won again. Yay, get used to it. Let's move on. So, there's no point in even talking about it anymore. I'm almost doubled up on you guys again. You were close there for a while, Nick, and then you had surgery, and then you've dropped off.
I'm telling you, the doctors could be like, Nick, we have very serious conversations.
No, I have picks of the week.
You have to have life-saving surgery. Luckily, it's a very easy procedure. No, we're not doing it. I'm not going to go into the run like this in picks of the week.
I have picks of the week.
Sir,
I'm not trying to knock stuff over here.
This competition in which you earn no real life money is going to keep you. Yes, is exactly what I'm saying.
We did not do the Smoking the Bandit run, although that would have been awesome. I would not have put it past anything with USL for that to be the case.
That's what we need to do. I keep telling you guys, we need to do a Smoking the Bandit run to like Tulsa for a game in Tulsa. Grab a whole bunch of Prairie beer, which is incredible, and then turn around and race back to Atlanta.
Yeah, okay, Ricky's like, promo was lacking. Duh, it was lacking. The competition's lacking. I need some competition from you people.
How many championships did Flair win, and he still cut amazing promos, dude? You're slacking.
Yeah, one, this is 2 weeks ago, so it would have been a taped show, so it doesn't have the same energy, because this is old. And two, When he wins every week, it's like, cool, yeah, whatever, it's all good.
No, because that's when Flair started talking about his business interests in Europe and flying Lear jets and getting suits made in Kansas City.
Well, yeah, and also there were probably other things that were fueling these insane promos. Look at the man's eyes.
Yeah. I mean, Tony Montana levels of cocaine and alcohol.
I don't have any of that. I have emergency drinking beer. Changes the vibe a little bit. Just say it. A little different process entirely.
Yeah, you just start cutting your promos like when I was up,
I can't do it.
When I was in Hershey, Pennsylvania.
I'm not cracked out like the Jaguar from the Guatemalan team that we like so much. I can't do it. I'm not insane.
Not like the sun, not like the sun from Partick Thistle.
No, I'm not chemically enhanced like Flair was in those days. I can't do it. All right.
This way.
So,
if you'd been from Baton Rouge, this wouldn't have been a problem. We could have had you dialed up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, just dial up some competition for me. All right, can you guys do that this week? Please. Facts are facts. All right, Tuesday. We got Champions
Porto
League.
and Atletico Madrid.
Why do you want Porto and Atletico Madrid?
Because I want chaos in that group.
He wants me on the thread screaming bloody murder. That's what he wants.
All right.
It's okay.
That's fine. I won't veto it. So that's John's pick. So Porto is plus 163. The draw is plus 230. I have to type this because I don't have a pen handy. And Atleti is a plus 170. Okay. So, recent matches between these two teams. It was a scoreless draw last time they played in Madrid. They played in 2013, but who cares? Porto recently has won back-to-back games since losing to Liverpool. This was in the Portuguese league. They beat Vitória and Portimonense. Maybe not
getting shut down too.
Best. Yeah. Atleti lost to Mallorca over the weekend, and they won at Cadiz after losing to Milan in their last Champions League game. So Atleti has 2 wins, 2 losses, and a draw in their last 5. You want to go further back, include another loss where they lost to Liverpool. Wheels coming off for Jolo, maybe? Possibly? All right, so Twitch Pitch, you'll make your picks as you do in the Discord. Nick, you were last out of the 3 of us, so you go first.
I will say, and where's this game being played again?
Portugal.
I'll take Porto.
John?
Nick, I'm going to open a window for you.
Open the window, baby.
I'm going to go for the draw. So this way, against that Liverpool side that's going to be rotated out, you get to
We're still going to lose.
Wait a minute. No. First off, you don't get to cut a promo here. Second,
he can cut a promo.
No,
it's his pick.
No, you don't get to cut a promo with your pick because you're acting like you don't pick a draw every game.
But this is a draw with context.
No, it's a draw.
The $1 million man would talk about challenging for the world title, would lose. He would still cut promos, man. Let the man cut his promo. The man cut his promo.
He cut it. It was bad. It was stupid because he's already got a draw. A draw. How many other draws are you going to pick this week?
Open that window for Nick, baby.
You're going to pick 5 more draws in 6 days. Like, it's coming. We already know. It's not anything to cut a promo about. All right. I am going to pick...
The only one he gets to say is for cause, though. Let the man pitch if it's for cause.
No. Not happening. I'm picking Porto. All right. I'm not buying Atleti at the moment. Wednesday.
Buy the neither one.
Obviously, because you always don't buy either one. You pick a draw.
Let's draw last time out. That blame them from the previous match. Don't blame me.
1, 2, 3, 4 draws last week out of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 draws the week before out of 6, and including the prop bet of the USL League One final. You picked another draw. Draw. 3 draws the week before that. 1, 2, 3. 3 draws. You've never picked less than 3 draws in a week until we go all the way back to when Atlas played Cruz Azul. Like
your point?
2 months ago. So, no, your point, the point, you don't get to cut a promo for the most obvious pick you make every time.
That's the point of the promo.
That's the point. It's the point of my promo, anyway. And I won last week, so I get to cut the promo if I want to.
Yeah, you refuse to cut a promo.
No, I cut my own promos. I cut my own
Hey, John,
stance.
it's like Brock Lesnar, right? Universal title, never shows up, so he sends Paul Heyman out instead.
Oh, no, I show up, and I'm not sending anybody else to cut a promo for me.
My
I just
name
laugh at you
is
people who keep
Paul
losing.
Heyman.
No, your name's Don Nelson. It's not Paul Heyman. You're not my advocate. Because you'd be telling me to pick a draw every time. Wednesday.
You need to wrestle to a time limit draw, sir.
All the
Give the fans what they want.
The fans love draws.
The fans need their money's worth.
I'm firing the advocate. Wednesday, you got Bayern and Barcelona, which is interesting because of what Team Bayern potentially puts out. Benfica, Dinamo Kiev, Atalanta, Villarreal, Salzburg, Sevilla, Wolfsburg, Lille, Group G, drunken madness. Anything Group H, don't even worry about it. You got the Copa Argentina with Talleres and Boca Juniors. Melbourne City and Perth Glory in the A-League. We got League One for John, but he already used his pick.
Hold on. The Villarreal Atalanta game.
You want that one?
Well, I'm debating. It's speaking to me.
Okay. It's in Bergamo, and Atalanta is a rather large favorite.
It's true.
My tummy is speaking to me.
It's time for dinner. That's what it's speaking.
John does love count-out wrestling matches, Ricky Ricardo. That is correct. Burns says 20% of all soccer games end in draws. That would be between 1 and 2 per week on average, not 5. Burned is so correct. I knew I liked Burned.
Give me Atalanta and Villarreal.
Hold on. The Twitch pitch wants to pick on Saturday. Why should the Twitch pitch be able to pick on Saturday, Will?
They didn't win last week.
No, I need a reason. I need a reason for this, Will. We haven't got to Saturday yet, so look, as the champion, I will take it under advisement, but I need a reason for it. You got time to give it to me. Atalanta, Villarreal, is what you want, Nick?
Yes, please.
Okay. Atalanta, if I could type, not Atlanta. Just a
Atalanta.
Force of habit. Atalanta minus 137. The draw, 320. John's already excited about that. And Villarreal is also 320. Recent matches with these two teams. They drew 2-2 in Spain September 14th. Villarreal had a red card in that one. Atalanta comes in. They beat Napoli, so I'm furious with them. They won 3-2 in Naples. They beat Venezia. They beat Juventus in Turin. That's 3 good wins for Atalanta. They drew 3-3 with Young Boys in a drunken foolishness of a match back on November 23rd. And they won their 2 Serie A matches before that. Atalanta has not lost in a long time. We are going back to October 20th in Manchester against Manchester United. They've had some draws along the way, but Atalanta has done pretty well for themselves. Villarreal, on the other hand, lost at Sevilla in La Liga. They beat Victoria Club de Football in the Copa del Rey 8-0. That barely counts. They lost to Barcelona. They lost to Manchester United. The last time they won a game that actually counted, not Victoria CF, was against Getafe on November 7th. John, what are you picking?
Let's see. Let's go with Atalanta, the minus 133.
Okay. Atalanta. I am also taking Atalanta. Nick, what are you taking?
My cousin Fabio will probably be at the game, so big ups to Fabio and Atalanta. Forza, Forza, Forza. Atalanta, baby.
Grab the scarves and bring them home.
We are not at the phase of anti-Italian bias, I think. Oh, hey, hold on. Where's the referee from?
I don't know.
You don't know the referee from?
I have no idea.
Okay. We're not at that stage yet. That's typically knockout rounds when the bias creeps in. But okay. That's all I had to thank you.
I got nothing.
It's okay.
Okay. We all picked Atalanta, so it's not that much fun. But
it's a wash.
All right, Thursday. We got Lyon hosting Rangers. We've got Real Sociedad hosting PSV. We've got Napoli hosting Leicester City. Very intriguing. Lazio.
What about Jarrett Celtic and Real Betis?
I haven't gotten there yet. We got Lazio hosting Battlestar Galatasaray. Marseille hosting Lokomotiv Moscow, who is not a fan of Ralph Rangnick these days, by the way. The Russian media is very, very upset with Nick's boy.
Oh, no.
Because he walked out on him.
Will we do?
You left town, sir.
Yeah, he kind of ditched him.
Ralph, don't open any email.
No.
Don't open any emails. No. Don't drink any tea.
Don't open a package.
No, you got to be careful with that, Ralph.
Grab a food taste tester.
No. Yep. Celtic and Real Betis in
Chris,
Glasgow.
taste this.
Yeah. Oh, that's what Chris Armis' job's going to be. AZ hosting Randers. Siska Sofia hosting Roma. Jose Mourinho is gone sour really fast, but they're giving him the vote of confidence. So, that's really good. PAOK is hosting the Lincoln Red Imps. Tottenham's hosting Rennes. Basel is hosting Karabag. And on Thursday, we have the first leg of the Liga MX Apertura final. Club León and Atlas. I might just have to pick that. So you guys have already used your picks.
True.
We do have a consensus pick.
Yep.
What in the world is Will yelling about? So Will wants his degenerate team to be selected for Saturday. The Turkish team from the second division that was involved in the stupid drunk game plays on Saturday. That's what he wants. All right, that's fine. I'll take that. So you can have that for Saturday if you get it seconded and thirded. But Twitch pitch, you can have Saturday. I'm feeling generous. So I get 2 picks and we have a consensus one. I'm feeling generous, Nick. It happens from time to time. I feel
picks of the week overlord.
Yeah, well, when you win 15 times, yes, that would be the correct title. You're correct, John. Good job.
Generous God King.
Club León and Atlas in the first leg of the Liga MX Apertura final. Ariel Holan of León, old friend who managed Ezequiel Barco and Alan Franco to a Copa Sudamericana win at Independiente. And Atlas, they haven't won the frickin' title since 1951. And if you're a big Marcelo Bielsa fan, that was the club that he really kind of loved in Mexico, where he went first. He built this giant scouting network. They're known as one of the best developers of talent in Mexico, even still to this day, because of the network that Bielsa created. They've created a lot of the stars that then went on to other clubs and had money.
It's almost like Bielsa had a process.
Yeah, and he's actually not afraid of the ball. And also, Bielsa hasn't really won anything big either, so you might not want to point to him. Just saying. Just saying. And he also gets into fights with boards because he's
big process. Bielsa is forever the GOAT for walking outside and holding a hand grenade.
Allegedly.
Forever the GOAT for that one.
Yeah, allegedly.
Forever, he is goated forever.
Yeah, I don't know if Ralph's pulling that move.
Say something. Say something.
I don't think Ralph's got that move.
What?
No. All right. In the Apertura, Atlas hosted León. Now, this first game is in León. Mm-hmm. Last time they played, Atlas hosted and won 2-0.
Estadio León.
In the Clausura, Atlas also hosted, which is not supposed to happen, but anyway. And León won at Atlas. That was back in April. Go back the last time they played at León, León won that. Atlas has not come out of nowhere, but León has been more of a power, and Atlas hasn't been. So it's a little bit of the underdog versus not the giant power, not like Club America, but a powerful team. We don't have odds on this one yet. Will, sorry.
I got them.
We don't go by your odds, John. We go by what SofaScore posts when this happens for information purposes only.
Hey, John. Mm-hmm. Hey, John. Use your numbers, my man.
That's what I'm saying. No. Hold on. I'm making a point of clarification, Nick. We don't use those numbers in our picks of the week. When we don't have the odds on SofaScore to keep everything consistent, we go by what they post after the game, which they do, unless some of these crazy leagues that you guys like to pick because y'all are crazy. Those we don't get. But for information purposes, not for the official numbers, John, what are the odds in this match so far?
In the composite, courtesy of our friends at Odds Portal. So remember what they do is they have a different, about a dozen different purveyors, and they put them into an average.
Yes.
Club León is a plus 106.
Okay.
Your 90-minute draw is a plus 220. And Atlas is a plus 276.
Ooh. On the road. They get the home leg second, so Atlas will probably be pretty defensive, I would think. They also got a little fortunate because they broke a dude's nose in the last game, and a penalty wasn't called, and then that dude got his revenge by doing a bicycle kick into a defender's face.
Oof.
And the defender looked like he was knocked out, but then, of course, didn't miss any time on the field because, concussion protocols. Why would we have such a thing?
Sure. Yep.
That was on that side of it. Club León had to literally fight with Piojo, Miguel Herrera, and Tigres to get out of there. And also Club León's fans doused Gignac in beer as he was having to walk off the pitch, which was pretty shameful. So lots of things in this series. Even though these two teams are kind of
like... It just means more, man.
It means a lot. They'll throw the cerveza at you.
Put a hat on a hat sometimes, man.
I am up first, and I am going to pick the John Nelson special of a draw. First leg, I think it's KG. Nick.
Atlas.
Ooh. Upset special in leg one. On the road. John.
Draw.
Fair money don't make money.
Why did I even ask? John picked a draw. We're all surprised. Friday.
Friday.
There you go. That's proper timing. Good job.
Friday.
No, you don't get to do it twice. You rushed through it. You did the bad remix. That's on you. Can't help you with that. A wonderful match.
Performance, John. Excellent performance.
The first one was fine. It was fast. That's why I liked it. The Friday game that will not get picked, Brentford hosting Watford.
Oof.
If you watch this game, I really question your sanity. Unless you're from one of those towns that those clubs are located in. If not, please don't subject yourself to watching that.
Yeah, as we wait for
don't make the holidays darker than they need to be. You're going to fight with relatives anyway. Don't do that.
Other than that game. Anything. Mm-hmm. You can watch Kyle Duncan's new club in Belgium, Oostende. They're playing Charleroi. We could go Serie B. Crotone is on the road at Cremonese. Possibly, maybe. Benevento's playing. Do you like them? They're playing a team I've never heard of. Ternana? I don't know Ternana. Don't know them. Friday could be some slim pickings. Friday could really be some slim pickings. Maybe he has returned to training. Pity Martinez, our old friend, who's now being managed by the former Boca Juniors manager, Russo. and Al Nasser. They are on the road at Altay. I don't think Pitty's ready to play yet, though. We got the second leg of the promotion playoff semifinal in Argentina with Barraca Central and Almirante Brown. But this is probably got to be the consensus pick. Or I could save that for Sunday, where there'd probably actually be a good consensus game.
This is the thing, though. This is now Jason's dream scenario.
What is the dream scenario?
I've used my pick.
Yeah, y'all blew it.
John's used his pick.
Y'all blew it.
And you now have full unfettered access.
It's true.
To any Division 12 South American game that of your own choosing, which is why we need a filibuster. That's all I'm saying.
That's true. But yeah, I'm making the picks, and I can actually mute both of you, so it'd be very easy to kill that filibuster very fast, and I can just keep on going.
forever.
Let's go. God, there's not like a big game from the big leagues. I mean, Genoa and Sampdoria, Guln and Augsburg, Mallorca and Celta Vigo, and Brentford and Watford. Those are the big four. Well, I'm not picking any of those games. I don't want to subject you to that. So, since we talked about it earlier, we will go with the second leg of the promotion playoff semifinal. We don't have odds on it because the first leg ended a few hours ago. But it is Barraca Central against Almirante Brown.
Argentinian private investigator, Almirante Brown.
No, I was going to ask you to actually research why the club is called that. Because I don't remember the situation.
Club Almirante Brown.
Okay.
The club was founded in 1912. Changed its name in 1915. Played in regional leagues. Why are you named Club Almirante Brown?
Why are they named this, John?
This is what we're chasing.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess has something to do with like English, sailors or something.
They did at one point. Oh, okay. This is from the last 12 months. Let me pull this up. Argentine Football Club Almirante Brown paid tribute to Irish naval war hero William Brown by putting an image of him on their new goalkeeper's kit.
Go for it.
And it's rather large. Like, that's kind of a cool goalkeeper's kit. It's literally like what you would expect an admiral in a navy from 1900 would look like. And it's a black and white picture of that on the front of the goalkeeper's kit. Like, that's it. I might have to find this kit.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Irish Argentine Admiral William Brown.
I guess Almirante might be Admiral, possibly?
I think it might. Yeah, it might be, yeah.
I'm guessing.
Born in Ireland in 1777. Family immigrated to Pennsylvania when he was 9. Fought in the Napoleonic Wars.
Whoa, look at this guy.
Baller.
Became part owner of a ship called Eliza, trading between Montevideo and Buenos Aires. When Eliza met with disaster and ran aground, Brown carried his cargo inland, and having disposed of it profitably, he next crossed the Andes to Chile.
Wow.
Had accumulated sufficient capital to enable him to purchase a schooner called Industria, with which he opened a regular sailing
Not a sailboat,
service.
It's a schooner.
Schooner is a sailboat, stupid head.
You know what?
Argentina, the first such venture in South America. Then the Spanish colonial government stepped in, sensing a threat to its mercantile interests.
Wow, okay.
So, Spanish ships destroyed Brown's schooner and took drastic steps to nullify Argentina's attempts to defend its coasts against Spanish raiders. As a result of the incident, Argentina resolved to provide ships to protect her coasts and trade, with Brown being commissioned as a lieutenant colonel at the service of the Navy and appointed commander-in-chief of the Argentine fleet.
Whoa!
See, this is
you're a boss.
This
just tell me you're
an amazing retell of the HMS Pinnacle.
See, you bring up crazy, ridiculous history, and look who appears.
It's like pouring a salt circle all of a sudden.
Yeah. All right, I'll get you caught up on the other games in a minute, Jarrett. Thanks for showing up, because we're still on 3 hours later, because I don't know why. Nick and I got into a disagreement.
This is your degeneracy.
Yeah.
This is you conditioning yourself for Sunday.
Yeah, it is. The 7th annual. Is it 7th
day?
Yeah. Trade window. Post MLS Cup trade window show.
Hey, this is what happens when you have articulate conversation on a topic of great interest.
Stupid head.
Tell Mile High we need a shirt for this, actually. Like the
7th
annual.
Well, I want a movie on this guy.
Oh, no.
Hollywood,
no, Nick.
Hollywood's looking for movies.
Nick. Well, yes, I want a movie on Almirante Brown. I do want that.
Almirante Brown, of course.
But Jarrett is talking about our 7th annual post-MLS Cup trade window extravaganza of a program.
Half day.
You can come up with whatever name you want, my high, because I don't know what it's called. It probably has to be very long and like all over, like the longest tour name you could ever possibly imagine. But it's the 7th annual, started in 2016. Woo!
Yeah.
I just can't get over. A guy carried he sank his ship, carried the cargo inland,
and then went to Chile. He's like, I'm going to go to Chile. I'm going to sell this and I'm going to Chile. This. Yeah, it's all good.
You know, the locals were like, hold up, where are you going? He's like, over the Andes. So
like, what?
Idiot.
All right.
Since Thanksgiving of 2012, the winner of Rugby International between Argentina and Ireland is awarded the Admiral Brown Cup. La Copa Almirante Brown.
So there we go.
I want a movie now.
Yeah, I'm down with this.
Netflix, get on it.
All right.
I want Werner Herzog to direct it.
First leg was this afternoon at Almirante Brown's venue, and they drew, scoreless draw. John was excited. And second leg is at Barracas Central. This is the semifinal of the promotion playoff in Argentina. I know, it's crazy. Like, all these leagues are ending their seasons. They're not following the global standard by any stretch. Like, we got finals all over the place right now, and semifinals and playoffs and this and that. It's madness, I tell you, in this hemisphere. Jarrett, since you haven't picked anything yet, and you probably don't know anything about either one of these teams, I will try to give you a quick rundown after that. They hadn't been in the same division since 2019, so they have no history against one another.
I'm going to take the Admirals team on principle. I don't care.
You're taking the Admirals team on principle. They haven't. Well, no, they're 4 without a loss. 2 wins, 2 draws. They lost to Tigre, who got promoted in the earlier playoff because, of course, there's multiple stages to promotion playoffs in Argentina because it's madness.
Right.
Tigre beat Barracas Central, I believe, in that game to get to that stage, to get promoted. So Barracas Central got dumped back into this playoff in the semifinal because they lost the opportunity to go up in the 1 versus 2 game. Again, it's Argentina. It's playoffs. It's really insane.
Yeah. Back on the 22nd of November, it was 1-0 Tigre.
You got bumped back in. So could you imagine if we did that in like the MLS playoffs, where like it's 1 versus 2? So if you wanted to do that first round, you don't want anybody to have a bye. You don't have it. You have to go to 8 teams, I guess. So you figure it out. But 1 versus 2 in the first round of the playoffs. If one wins, they go automatically to the semifinal or something. If they don't, they have to play the next week. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's Argentina. Just deal with it.
Yes.
Just deal with it. Pick something, Nick.
Almirante Brown climbs over the Andes Mountains and then brings Barracas to their doom. I choose Almirante Brown.
Did they turn in
much like the Grizzly Man?
Did they turn Austrian and Arnold Schwarzenegger in the whole saga?
No, it's Werner Herzog. That's the man who I want to direct my Almirante Netflix movie.
Is he Austrian?
He's Bavarian.
Okay, just checking.
Well,
that sounded very.
Also sounds a little bit too close to Hannibal, who invaded Italy. So Nick is genetically predisposed to choose against anything that sounds that close to Hannibal.
Actually, no. Actually, I think my bloodline kind of lines up a little bit more with Hannibal's, so I kind of I should be going more for Hannibal. Yeah.
Byrne lets us know that Admiral Brown beat Spain, Brazil, and Uruguay in separate wars. So, of course, Argentina won.
See? Get me the movie. I'm going to call. I'm getting the option on the movie. I'm going to start writing a script. Writing the script.
Go for it.
This is stupid.
Okay.
This is so stupid.
John, what are you picking?
Baraka Central.
You're picking Baraka Central. Why? Because
just
Gustavo
think
said
that
so?
they-
No, you saw Gustavo in the Twitch pitch.
No, because I think that they nursed it through this first leg and they're going to win it at home.
Well, I think Baraka Central wins, but I actually have a much better reason for picking that. You guys and your admirals and carrying stuff and all that, that's great. He goes to Chile, beats all these people in wars. He's a naval guy, probably very upper class, probably had a great background, right? I'm backing Baraka Central. Felipe Campora founded the club, first president of the club. What did he do? He was a truck driver. I'm backing the truck drivers club, Baraka Central.
The land sinketh, got its fourth steam, and Jason takes his pick for impending doom.
Baracas. And they were the number 2 team in the second division all year, so they won their group and they're second. Yeah, they're going to win.
If you want to watch a really weird movie on Netflix, Werner Herzog has a documentary called Into the Inferno. It's all about like volcanoes and weirdness around volcanoes. It is. He goes to like North Korea at one point. It is grab a beer and just watch. Buckle up.
Okay. I still want to see your movie.
All I had to say was, hey, do you want to watch a weird movie? Werner Herzog.
Yeah.
That's you just stop
and
done.
And by the way, you can apply, Jason, for credentials, media credentials for this match on their website.
But I have to go to Baraka Central for the game?
Apparently so, yes.
Yeah.
I
don't think
want
I'm going to be able to pull that off.
I want Almirante Brown gear.
You need the goalkeeper shirt with the guy on the front. Like, look it up. Look it up right now. You will lose your mind and probably order something right now, Nick.
God, look, we don't have time for another South American,
Hey, I got 2 more days.
Expedition.
I mean, no, they're going to pick the Twitch pitch is going to pick Saturday, and I'm probably going to let them do it unless it gets really crazy. Sean said he's going to fly me down. Okay, cool. I'm in. Let's go.
Going
to Baracas.
Got that money?
I guess. Going to the Claudio Fabian Tapia Estadio. I'm in. All right, Twitch pitch. What is your madness you're picking on Saturday? There's something weird going on in the Turkish second division, is my understanding. I'm not exaggerating, Jarrett. Perfect, Tommy. We do need a list of recommendations of teams. Yes, we need probably just a list of SDH recommendations so you guys know not to actually follow those, so you don't get sick or end up broke or anything. All right, Will. Is it Istanbulspor? What?
Yeah, I think it's
not
Istanbulspor.
Instabilspor. I mean,
they're unstable spore.
There's something against Ayıpspor?
Ayıpspor, yeah.
In the Turkish second division. Let me scroll down and find this thing. Hold on.
Yeah, Istanbulspor AS and Ayıpspor. That is one of the 11 o'clock games on the 11th.
Okay.
And I have odds portal numbers.
That might be handy. Yes, there it is. I do not have odds. Istanbulspor has a interesting crest. Ayıpspor looks like they just kind of threw things together. I don't know about the purple and yellow that Ayıpspor has going on. Will can't spell when he's sober. He hasn't been drinking those pineapple natter days tonight, I can tell. All right.
Apparently it's been thirded, yeah.
No, it's good.
By the way, that Almirante Brown keeper shirt.
I told you.
That's nuclear heat.
I told you.
It even has like the shoulder things on it, like the stars and the anchors, and then like the service.
More teams.
Service stripes.
I would like to propose that just like in hockey, where goalkeepers have their crazy masks with stuff on it, goalkeepers need to be able to get stupid with the kits.
The back of the shirt
has
a long ship. It has like the big sailing ship on the back.
I didn't see the back.
You got Nick now. It's all good.
I told him.
This is like Jim Ross. Good God Almighty!
Gustavo, help him find Almirante Brown gear, please, and that shirt specifically.
And it has the schooner on the back.
It's a schooner.
Oh my God!
The Admiral Guillermo Special.
Ooh.
Oh wow! Yeah, that is out of control.
That's nuclear heat.
Gustavo, I did not make that connection, but yes, I'm very happy that we have moved on from that game. Gustavo picked Barracas because it is the club of the Argentine Federation's president. I saw Tapia on there, and I'm like, oh, wait a minute.
All right, good. Gustavo, what's up, man? How you doing?
Black helicopters, that's what I'm telling you. All right, so Istanbulspor and Eyüpspor. It's 4 versus 8 in the second division in Turkey. This match is being played in Esenyurt, Turkey. I'm not going to try the venue name. There is a lot of names to the venue name. It's not simple. Last time they played was in the second division in 2010. So we have no history between these two. Istanbulspor lost 3-1 their last time out. They lost in, I'm guessing, the cup competition 3-2 before that. But prior to that, they had won 4 of their last 5, and they drew the other one. So Istanbulspor, keep an eye on. Eyüpspor, 1-1 draw, and Hatayspor had the 2 red cards in that game. It went to penalties. This was the one that possibly, allegedly, drunken Will, or maybe hungover Will, or maybe just hopped up on coffee Will. It could have been any of the above. Found the penalty shootout, and this is the one that the team had the goalkeeper sent off. Field player goes in goal because they were out of subs. It goes to extra time because it's a cup game. New goalkeeper comes in. He gets sent off in extra time. Field player has to put the gloves back on, and then they win the shootout. That is the Hatayspor situation. So Eyüpspor is the team who lost that, and they are playing at Istanbulspor. And Eyüpspor is 4th, Istanbulspor is 8th. What are the, for information purposes only, numbers, John?
You have Istanbulspor at a plus 227. Your draw's a plus 241. Eyüpspor is a plus 108.
That feels about right. It's 4. Eyüpspor's 4th. Istanbulspor's 8th. So that feels about right. Jarrett, you haven't picked anything yet except for the last game, so you're catching up by picking first. Pretty much.
Which one lost 2 keepers in the last game?
They lost to the team that lost 2 goalkeepers, Eyüpspor.
Yeah.
They lost to a field player in a shootout.
Yeah.
You're taking them?
That doesn't seem to bode well throughout history, so give me Istanbulspor.
Ah, there you go. Istanbulspor.
No good reason to do this. I don't trust anything that the Twitch bitch gives us.
No, you never should. You never should. You got to be careful with that. Nick?
I will take the John W. Nelson route and say draw.
Draw. John?
Eyüpspor.
Oh, wow. I'm surprised. I will go with the draw on this one.
I was looking at the Almirante Brown kit and completely lost, so
it's okay.
You might as well have had me picking like racing gerbils or something.
That's okay. It's okay. Sunday. Since everybody wants to talk about where we could be picking, and since I waited and everybody picked their things out there first, so I get to pick this one. We are picking the second leg of the Ecuadorian final.
Because of course we are.
Of course we are. You want to talk trash about Ecuador right now? You guys want to do that? You know who listens to this show. You know who's paying attention to this show. They're going to come after you, and they should, with that attitude. This first leg was ridiculous.
Yes, it was.
The game got delayed by an hour because of torrential rain. The field didn't have puddles, but was wet. You had a red card after a VAR that took 27 minutes, it felt like. You had a goal that was allowed that shouldn't have been. You had a penalty given to Emelec at the very end. Independiente del Valle won 3-1 with some controversial elements. The second leg is at Emelec, and I am expecting so many ridiculous black helicopters to be flying over the pitch. This is going to be the most ridiculous game of the weekend. No question. No question. And it's a game we're picking. So Independiente del Valle has the 3-1 advantage. This is the second leg. This is at Emelec. They had... Who did they lose? They lost a striker to a red card. That was an awful red card. They lost at least one player to a muscle injury, another attacker. But Emelec's got to overturn a 3-1 deficit. That's where things stand. IDV won the second phase of the league. Emelec won the first phase. So Emelec played the second phase knowing they were already in the final, which is kind of an awkward situation. Emelec is the bigger club. Independiente del Valle is the club that develops all the young talent coming through Ecuador. That's the rundown on this matchup. Do you have numbers, John? Because I'm curious what they are if you have them.
No, I do not have numbers.
Yeah.
Ecuador has not been posted yet.
That's a shame. Anti-Ecuadorian sentiment for sure right there. All right. I will go first on this one, and I am going to go with an Emelec win, but I don't think they win the title. I think they win the match, but not the championship. That's my prediction. John?
Same. Emelec.
Nick?
Independiente del Valle.
IDV. Jarrett?
Emelec and the title.
Wow.
Like helicopters, baby.
Wow. Picked a
good Lord.
Jarrett just wants to be the heel around here.
Well, I think that's the prop bet.
No. The prop bet is going to be about MLS Cup. Because that is going on Saturday. And we are...
I thought it was going to be how many trades there are in the half-day window.
No, although that would have been really good.
All of them.
No, it will be how many fouls in the MLS Cup final between Portland and New York City. How many fouls between these two teams in one game in the final? Just to give you a basis of comparison. In the Philadelphia-New York City game, there were combined 27 fouls. I would have taken the over on that. In the Portland RSL game combined, there were 28 fouls. So there you go. Fouls over the whole thing. So if you think it's going to go to extra time, you might pick more fouls. That's possible. Jarrett. Jarrett, you turned full robot.
This is my set number.
Sorry, you turned full robot. Could you please repeat that
23.
number? 23. You think it's going to be a rather cleanly played match, huh? Or you think the referee's just not going to call anything?
I think it's going to call it loses.
Jarrett's
loose.
Okay. That's possible.
Loose as hell, I believe, was his quote.
I don't think we know who's in the middle for this. Usually... This has been one of the kind of underreported stories of the playoffs. Usually the MLS Referee of the Year does the MLS Cup game. It's kind of part of the award. But that's Robert Sabiga, and he hasn't worked since, I think, Decision Day, where he got concussed.
Yeah.
He had a collision and has had a concussion ever since. I know he was concussed when we were in New York for the first round because Glenn Crooks had him on his pregame show, and he was at home because he wasn't able to work that weekend. And he hasn't called a game since, so I don't think he'll do the final.
Yeah, Pro has not posted yet.
Give it to Elfath.
I'm down with that because he might be the only one who could potentially stab Giovanni Savarese and Ronnie Dylo. Because Elfath is about that life.
I think he would control. He could control it without too many fouls or too many cards. Give it to Elfath.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. I like Ismail generally. All right, Nick, what number are you picking? Fouls in the 18. MLS Cup final. 18? Yep. Wow, you really think they're not going to call anything?
Nope.
Tati Castellanos might commit 10 of those by himself.
I said what I said.
Okay. John?
26.
26. I am thinking this is going to go to extra time. So I'm thinking that's going to be 120 or 30 additional minutes. So 120 minutes of fouls. And I am going to go with 29. And I think Tati Castellanos commits 22 of them.
There you go.
And isn't sent off. Because he's Tati and they're not going to send him off in a final. Come on now. That ain't happening. All right, that's a pick. Oh, Jarrett, you have to pick games. Because you missed the first few. Quickly, Jarrett.
Well, I was going to say, if you want to just send them to... Okay, go ahead, do it.
Well, no, I mean, it's okay. Porto hosting Atletico Madrid on Tuesday. Porto plus 163, draw plus 230, Atleti plus 170. Draw. Wednesday, Atalanta minus 137, hosting Villarreal. The draw is a plus 320, Villarreal is plus a 320.
Villarreal.
Ooh.
I like that number.
Look at Jarrett go. Thursday, first leg of the Liga MX final. Club León hosting Atlas. We don't have numbers on this one, but León is a sizable favorite according to John's bootleg aggregator.
Man. I don't know numbers. I'll take the draw.
Yeah, that's the safe one. All right, and we got you on the others. So you are set.
Yeah.
Nick, have you already ordered the Almirante Brown shirt?
Not yet, no.
Man, I might have to myself because that's pretty cool.
Yeah, but they don't have our sizes, though, Jason. That's the problem.
That's ridiculous. Come on.
I know.
I'm going to have to talk to my people at Retros y Rarezas where I got this sweet shirt.
Well, what you need to do is you order it, and then you get a couple of black stripe, like black cloth bits, and you can expand it.
Yeah.
Muscle-bound gentlemen as yourself. Take it to a tailor and have them at it.
Yeah, you can do that. I don't have a tailor handy, but I might have to think about this. I might need to find a tailor. Okay. I think that's it. We have been going like all night long on a bunch of ridiculousness. Jarrett, do you want to chime in on ridiculousness just because?
I'll chime in on something you and I talked about over the weekend.
Okay.
If you want to see what could have been with Gabriel Heinze's system, but maybe more offensive and more of a Leroy Jenkins approach to the defensive side of the ball.
Leroy Jenkins!
You can go watch Celtic and see what it looks like when it's like generating a ton of shots by putting your wingers with their heels on the outside lines and having your left and right backs cutting inside. Like I think it's more aggressive and less defensive than what Gabriel Heinze was going to do. But if you kind of want to see like a more offensive version of what I think he wanted to do, and this is something we talked about over the weekend, you go watch Celtic because they're going to do a lot of that. They're also going to pass the ball at Jason. I think you had to set like Celtic like passes the ball at like a comical rate, like the distance covered on their passes.
Oh yeah, they're progressive with their passing would be the best way to put it.
There you go.
Yeah, they're very progressive with their passing. I mean, that's pretty cool.
This is a one-directional team.
That's what I'm talking about, baby.
They don't press like maniacs. They're actually not afraid of the ball. They don't mind having the ball.
They're fine having the ball.
They like it.
But like, we're going forward. What about backwards? Nah, that's for cowards, y'all.
That's right.
So they take elements of your beloved Rangnick, but they don't go full Ralph.
They love a good counter press, though. They turn that ball over in the attacking half, they turn into damn hyenas.
Where where are you, Jarrett?
Actually, just in the car.
Okay, because
out.
You sound very strange. I didn't know if you were at Kroger or Publix or maybe Piggly Wiggly.
I wish there was a Piggly Wiggly near me.
Piggly Wiggly.
Pig!
Awesome. Man, it was awesome.
Long live the Piggly Wiggly in Sam Fly, Georgia.
Ooh, okay.
Long live the one in Woodbury, Tennessee.
There you go.
That's cool. I don't have an intro for this, but we actually do, as we always have to check at the end of the show, we actually do have a Nicholas Bentner update.
I'm going to have to bounce before the Nicholas Bentner update.
Oh!
So
yeah,
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got to go.
That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
Yep, as do I.
Really quickly, because that's not how this works.
If I could hang out, I would.
No, that's not how this works. Just the headline in Norwegian media, I'm not ready. He's talking about he's not ready to go back to dating. He's not ready.
The gene pool thanks him.
He's very sad. I'm not ready for anything serious.
No.
His main focus is on where he wants to be in his coaching career. I didn't know he had a coaching career.
That's a red flag.
But, yes. Yes, he does still have a Swedish model girlfriend, so he's at least kind of ready, I guess. But he's going to be a coach. Maybe you can get him on the Ralph train, Nick.
No, because they actually seek talent on the coaching side.
Man.
You know, so,
Wow.
That's so mean.
You know, I'm sure there's a bathroom attendant position somewhere within the Manchester United organization that Bentner could go, and he could spend most of his time like he did previously, hiding from Arsene Wenger in the
Thierry Henry. Yeah.
I'm with Will. Nicholas Bentner to LAFC. That would be the greatest thing ever. He could bring the Discovery Plus show to the U.S. because it's not on Discovery Plus like here. It's only in like Denmark and Norway and these places.
VPN, baby. VPN.
I mean, sure.
I can't do that because I've already poured all my energy into Jesse Mars taking over Philadelphia when Jim Curtin goes to Cincinnati.
Yeah, that's going to happen too. Maybe Bentner can go to Philly. That would be amazing. I like Bentner with his reality show straight up to L.A. Ricky, he's been the Discovery Plus series. They're like into season 2 or 3 now. That's getting ready to come out. That's why he's now started to make the rounds again and talking about his dating life. Like you're getting ready for the new season to come out. He's deep into this.
If Bentner really wants to get into coaching, you know, I'm sure that there are plenty of people who need help with their wireless contracts. That he could coach them into a new plan. I'm sure that he could help them upgrade to an iPhone 13, perhaps.
Cable versus streaming services,
right? Yeah, help get people get a nice Apple Plus subscription out of it by upgrading to the iPhone 13. You know, that's a deal that's being offered right now. So,
and I think that'll do it. That'll do it.
All right. Tune in next week when we try to get a therapist to help Jason work through his issues with the high press.
I ain't got no
Ralph
issues.
Rangnick.
Ralph's going to be out of there in 365 days.
So we look forward to that, and just so you guys know, I'm springing for the therapy help on that one. So until then, the holidays are approaching. Get out, get your shopping done. It was like 2 weeks away from Christmas. 2 weeks is your official soccer over there warning. Because just be ready, okay? You don't want to be that person 2 days before Christmas. You're waiting on Amazon, and God forbid UPS or FedEx will deliver your stuff on time. So you don't want it. Get your stuff now, and take care of yourself. Don't avoid the problematic family get-togethers. Avoid them. Not worth it. You don't want to do it. Just take my word for it. And just like Jason's avoiding talking about Ralph Rangnick.
All
right, till next time, everybody.
I talk about it plenty. I don't have to avoid any of that nonsense because it's going to go up in flames.
Until next time, everybody, For all of us knuckleheads, we hope you all enjoyed the show. You know how to reach us. We're not going to get into it. Till next time, mucha, mucha, yo.